I do not have a target.
Where you paid your rent after a money order, a copy of the money order where you tendered your rent after May of 2017.
After I went to court and won.
No. Not court and won, because that's what the case is about. Is that dated May 2017?
This is dated August 18th.
Right.
Back rent.
Right.
$4,400.
I'm not talking about back rent, sir. I'm talking about you stopped paying rent. That's what this case is about. You stopped paying rent because they were going to evict you. And you went to court, and you got a judge that said, yes, you were in violation of the law. You were in violation of not advising management that you had roommates there. So we'll let you stay. We're going to increase your rent. You're going to notify management that you have a tenant and pay a 10% increase each time your rent is increased because you have a roommate. That's what that order says. That order doesn't say, that order, part of the judgment is for the back rent, but you stop paying rent. That's what this case is about. You want him to pay you back half the rent that you had to pay after the eviction proceeding, because he stopped paying you rent.
He was living there the whole time from May through the end of September.
So were you.
Okay, and I had to pay the back rent. I had to pay it. I paid it. They wouldn't take my rent in May, or otherwise I would
Who's
just
living there with you now?
Nobody.
Perfect. That's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to live in this rent-control place by yourself, unless you get permission. So if you think that courts are designed to help people who are trying to circumvent the law a little bit, it's not what we're here to do. It's not what we're here to do.
So what about all the times when all the managers knew I had a roommate?
Did you just hear? Did you just hear what I said?
Okay, you're right.
I don't hear what all your managers knew, what was in their brain, unless they're here, so I can ask them, did you know that he had roommates and was in violation of the terms and covenants of his lease arrangement because he's supposed to pay a 10% increase for the last 20 years? Do you know what your rent would be, sir, if you paid a 10% increase for every tenant that you had? You know what your rent would be? 10% over 20 years. What do you think it would be? Close to $2,500 a month?
I didn't have roommates for 20 years. I had roommates mostly since 2008. The first 13 years from 95 to 2008, I never had a roommate. I've had 6 roommates.
Correct. You've had roommates since 2008, so it's only 10 years. Well, you say here it's since 2008.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What do you want?
I would like to be able to counter-sue because he's suing me for money.
Just a second. What do you want? I don't want to hear counters.
Peace and quiet, and for all of this to be over with.
It's quiet. It's peaceful and quiet now.
And later today,
It must have been a bad DUI because you had a lot of bail.
Yes, it was.
Tell me how bad.
I was speeding excessively.
How excessively?
About 127.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kenneth Scaler says his former roommate, Eric Polivka, owes for rent. Eric is countersuing, claiming Kenneth is withholding his property.
So how much do you think with a 10% increase each time you've had a roommate, sir, how much do you think your rent would be?
Well, right now, if it's $1,100, 10% would be $1,210, you know.
Just a second, you've had 8 different roommates, but
6.
but your rent goes up incrementally every year, every 2 years. How often?
It goes up once a year in January.
Once a year in January, so you would pay a 10% increase. And that 10% exponentially would come to hundreds and hundreds of dollars in rent that you didn't pay when you should have and had roommates. So courts don't help people who scam Mr.
I'm not a
Scaler.
scammer, Professor.
Anyway, he's not paying you. We have a counterclaim. What do you want?
Me?
What do you want?
What do I want?
Yeah.
I would like to be able to countersue because he's suing me for money.
Just a second. What do you want? I don't want to hear counters.
Peace and quiet, and for all of this to be over with.
It's quiet. It's peaceful and quiet now.
Okay, good. I want my things back. He's been holding them hostage. Everything I own in the world.
Listen to me. What things?
I've got a list here.
I don't care. I don't want to see a list. What things?
Off the top of my head, my television, my speakers, my amplifier, my bicycle, pair of gloves, all my clothing. I have antiques, I have hats, computer, adapter, clothing, tools. I'd like to be able to shave. That would be great. A hairdryer, I don't know what the hairdryer cost me. Just basics, just to get along and be able to work and go back to living my life again.
Where are you living now?
At some hole in North Hollywood that I just pay them what I can, and I'm able to get off the street. They call it a halfway house.
Well, where are you going to put all this stuff if you get it?
I will store it and be responsible for it and get it out of Ken's hair.
Oh, great. When are you going to pick it up?
As soon as I can, as soon as I've got a friend with the truck. I've got a witness here that can explain.
Just a second. What?
I want him to have all his stuff. That's not an issue. But the thing is,
yes, it is an issue. Or
I don't want to hear you.
He was locked out. My lawyer
said. You locked me out.
My lawyer said he can't just come in there because he was, locked out.
No, he can't.
He either
you want him to have all of his stuff.
He either has to have a
with
third.
a law enforcement. Yes, we're
yes.
That's why
he can come in as long as. I apologize.
You started out with, I want him to have all of his stuff.
Correct.
Great. Within 5 days with a law enforcement officer, you will be cut an order to go in with a law enforcement officer and get your stuff.
Beautiful.
5 days, listen to me, 5 days from today. Do we understand each other?
Absolutely.
So he won't be in there by himself. There'll be
Did you hear what I said?
A law enforcement
He can
officer.
only come in with a law enforcement officer.
Fine.
Great. Thank you. Good job.
Please excuse you may step out.
Thank you. I think he should pay the back rent. I mean, he got to stay there for 5 months without paying me.
I did not have my best intentions in mind.
Obviously, just get a approval, get him on the lease, and not do it the way I did it.
I hope that I can work really hard and be rewarded for my hard work.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Campbell versus Davis. Step forward.
Sabrina Campbell is suing her ex-boyfriend, Curtis Davis, for an unpaid loan for bail after he was arrested for a DUI.
Mr. Davis, in 2014, you were arrested for a DUI.
Yes, ma'am.
How many DUIs had you had when you were arrested for this DUI?
That was my first.
Have you had any since, Mr. Davis?
No, I have not.
It must have been a bad DUI because you had a lot of bail.
Yes, it was.
Tell me how bad.
I was speeding excessively. I'm on the way to pick up Miss Campbell.
I don't care what you were on the way to doing. It was a bad DUI because you were speeding excessively. How excessively?
About 127.
In whose car?
I was in Miss Campbell's car.
What time of the day?
In the evening, around dusk.
Where had you been drinking?
I was drinking at a friend's house in Oxnard, and I was on the way to Camarillo to pick her up.
And what time is this DUI?
I believe it was closer to 8.
Anybody else in the car with you?
No, I was alone.
So you were traveling 127 miles an hour and you were drunk. You got a DUI. Miss Campbell bailed you out. Well, she didn't bail you. She co-signed for the bail for you. Where were you working at that time?
I was not employed at the time.
What were you doing?
I would just do little side jobs with my friends to make a little money on the side, and I was applying places.
What are you doing now?
I do landscaping for the city.
So you have a job now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. How much do you make?
Approximately $600 a week.
Why should she pay? They're coming to garnish her wages for your bail, for your drunk driving at 127 miles an hour. Why do you think she should be responsible for that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, they're coming to garnish her wages for your bail, for your drunk driving at 127 miles an hour. Why do you think she should be responsible for that?
Because I believe Miss Campbell shouldn't have wanted me to come pick her up when I was that intoxicated. I think it would have been better if I would have just stayed there and she could have had a friend pick her up.
How old are you?
I'm 30 now.
Old enough to know better, right?
Yes.
Been arrested since?
Yes, I was.
Incarcerated?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
For about 14 months.
Anybody bail you out then?
No.
Did Miss Campbell come to visit you?
Yes.
How often?
Once.
How come only once?
I was just over the repetitive foolishness.
How much is owed on the bail?
Currently owed on the bail is about $4,600.
I'd like to see it, please.
Sorry, $4,700.
Did you make any payments on this bail, Mr. Davis?
I made one.
In what amount?
Like $50.
$47.46. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Thank you.
Excuse, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm very grateful that she ruled in my favor.
She wanted me to go pick her up, so I had to get in the car and go get her.
If he was drunk, I would never want a drunk person in my car to come and get me.
I wasn't going to argue with her.
I didn't even know he blamed me.
Don't drink and drive. Point blank, period.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Ann Robertson is suing her daughter, Catherine Perdue, for an unpaid loan and a mobile home title.
Order. All rise. That's case number 428 on the calendar, no matter Robertson versus Perdue.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Ms. Robertson, the defendant is your daughter. It's your claim that she owes you a whole bunch of money that you loaned to her, $5,000. You want a title to a mobile home that you put in her name, and the defendant says that the money that you gave her was a gift. The mobile home was a scheme. You needed it out of your name because you get some sort of government assistance. You couldn't show any money, so I have to sort of ferret out what's going on. What kind of disability do you get?
I don't get disability. I'm on Social Security.
Just Social Security?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Ms. Perdue, what kind of government assistance were you suggesting that your mother was trying to hide funds from?
She wanted to purchase a trailer. And
she wanted what?
She wanted to purchase a trailer, okay, for me. But then I found out afterwards because she put it in my name. I thought she was purchasing this trailer for me, but she put the trailer in my name because she couldn't claim that money. She couldn't have it in her name as an asset. I'm sorry, that's what I'm trying to say, because otherwise it would consider her as an asset.
Does that have to do with medical coverage?
No, Your Honor.
Why was the mobile home that you purchased in her name?
It was purchased in her name is because I was about halfway ill or something. So I told her, I said, if a case I pass, I'm going to put it in your name. That way you can sell the house and split it between the 4 kids.
I understand. So
I don't know what she's talking about.
So you were doing some inventive estate planning.
Yes.
Well, this inventive estate planning came back and bit you in the behind.
Yes, it did.
Because once you put the mobile home in her name, it becomes hers. It's a gift. That's what it is.
You mean she can actually throw me out on the streets, which she said after we go to Judge Judy, when we come back, I'm throwing you out on the streets and I'm selling the house.
No. Well,
yes.
Well, I want to tell you something. That would not be a nice thing for her to do. Oh my God. Fortunately, you have 2 other children.
3.
3 other children. But the law says that if you put a home, a mobile home, in somebody else's name, and according to you, it was done for estate planning, so that when you're no longer around, it will go to the 3 children. That's what you had hoped for. Well, Miss Robertson, I hope it doesn't happen tomorrow or in the next 10 years, but eventually we're all going to be gone.
Right.
Right? So if that was the purpose of your putting it in her name, eventually it's going to come to pass. So you can't get the mobile home back.
You mean when we go home, she can just throw me out in the street?
Listen, if that's going to... Are you living... The two of you living together?
No, she lives... There's my place, the place, and then her place.
Your Honor, please, can I say something? Okay? First of all, the statement about me throwing her in the street is very incorrect. Yes, the statement was made, but it was not made by me. I have no intentions of throwing my mother in the street. Okay?
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Maybe we can resolve this so that your mother is happy. Would you be prepared to sign an order giving your mother a life estate in that mobile home? Which means that during her lifetime, she cannot be excluded from the mobile home that she's currently living in. Were you prepared to sign such an order?
I would, on just
No, that's either I am prepared to sign it or I'm not.
No, I'm not. No, you're not.
Yeah, that's what I told you.
I am not going to throw her out. But there's other circumstances that's going on with this mobile home at the time. Okay,
Right.
She's done some structural changes to the mobile home. Okay, you have to have permits and you have to have licenses for this. Okay, and she took it upon herself to go and to split it into two. And the trailer now is 2 apartments.
Who lives in one half and who lives in the other?
At this point, I'm not really sure because there was an issue of her supposedly renting out the back. Okay.
Okay, well, that would sound like something that might happen if she split it in 2 so she had a place to live and some additional income.
Right. Well, she never spoke to me about this, okay? I was not told about any of these changes. I just came aware of them.
Let me ask you this question, Ms. Perdue. Is your problem that it's in your name?
No.
What's your problem?
My problem is that the trailer belongs to me. She should have come to me and asked me before she made these major changes. Right.
She didn't. What do you do for a living?
Right now?
No, anytime. What do you do for a living to support yourself?
Oh, right now I take care of a handicapped child in home care. I haven't been working for the past year. I've been very, very ill this year.
So it would be fair to say that you didn't put any of your funds into the mobile home where your mother is staying?
No. I helped her pay a little bit for lot rent, but no.
The answer is no.
Right, no.
The answer is no. So what you're telling me is that you're concerned that she's made certain structural changes that are in code violation, then your concern is that you could get in trouble for that.
Right.
So why don't you give it back the trailer?
Because she gave that. Your Honor, can I explain something to you about...
I understand exactly what she did.
When she had given me this trailer... Okay, my mother has not been in my life.
Just a second. I'm not interested in your sob stories. I'm trying to get who you are. I can't make you give your mother back the trailer, but if she, at her age, wants to be secure that she's not going to be thrown out and won't have a place to live, it would seem to me, since you had no financial input in this trailer, that she bought it with her money, and that for estate purposes, she gave it to you and put it in your name. But right now she's insecure, and nobody as a senior should be insecure that they're going to be homeless because they made an unwise choice. If you were a reasonable person, what you would do is to say, you know what? You want the trailer back? I didn't put anything into it. It's probably got code violations. I don't want any part of it. I don't pay the maintenance on it. I don't pay the lot fees on it, because she pays all of those, right?
She pays lot rent.
She pays all of those things?
She pays lot rent.
How much are they, by the way, Miss Robertson?
$250 per month.
And how much did you pay for the trailer?
$4,000.
Do you have any other funds left from the sale of your home?
No, ma'am, I do not. I gave the rest of my funds that I had, I gave to the lot place because Catherine wanted a double wide across the street, and I paid for it, and she was supposed to pay $250 and I was supposed to pay $250 and put my name on the title. I noticed the title, she did not put my name on the title, so she owes me $5,000 for that, not $250. And I gave her all the money to repair her house and everything, and I'm living on $610 a month.
Miss Robertson, when you make a gift, the gift is gone.
I didn't realize that.
I can't convince her. I can't convince her to do anything. Right now, you have ownership of how many mobile homes? You have the one that your mother gave you. There's another double wide that was purchased.
Yeah. Sorry.
There's another double wide that was purchased. You put in no money in that. She did.
I put a lot.
Just a second.
Wait a minute.
Tell me what you put into that.
All right.
Without working, because you haven't been working. So tell me what you put in.
This was prior to me not going to work. I work for a company that it's an in-home service.
How much are you paid per hour?
I think it was $975. It's $1125 now.
You didn't put any money into this trailer. Nothing. Miss Robertson.
Yes, ma'am.
Your problem is, and I'm sure you've been told, because you seem like an intelligent lady, and I'm sure you've gone to see a lawyer.
I couldn't find one who would take my case. The one I did find, she beat me to it. He told her that as long as it was in her name...
It's hers. I'm telling you the same thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I can do to help you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Miss Perdue, let me tell you what my problem with you is. My problem is with you is you're a lousy daughter. Now, if you want to change your mind, I'll take back the fact that I think you're a lousy daughter.
And later today...
Were you driving this truck without insurance?
Yes, only because it was on a Saturday, and I couldn't call the insurance company to put insurance on it.
What do you mean, you bought it on Saturday?
No, I was just decided to drive it that day.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ann Robertson says her daughter, Catherine Perdue, owes for a loan and a mobile home title.
There's nothing that I can do to help you. Unless your daughter wants to give you a life estate so that you feel comfortable that you're not going to be evicted from your home. Of course, what you could always do is stick her with the lot fees and move in with one of your other children. That way, she's not going to be able to cover all the lot fees, the lot fee on the house that you've remodeled that she won't turn over to you. They'll take it because she's not going to be able to pay for her house and the new one and the one you live in.
Oh, no, ma'am. She sold the double wide and did not give me a penny. She sold it.
Oh, she sold it. When did you sell the double wide?
In May.
And how much cash did you put into the double wide?
And the double wide, God, I must have put...
Just tell me how much you put into the trailer.
I don't know exactly, but it had to be at least about $5,000.
How much did you put into the trailer?
About $5,000.
Show me. Show me.
No, I can't show you because she wanted all the receipts for her income taxes.
Miss Robertson, there's nothing that I can do to help you. I'm really trying very hard to help you, but there's nothing that I can do to help you.
She's got all the receipts.
She has a cashier's check for $5,000.
Oh, yeah, I got the cashier's checks that I paid.
Trailer she's talking about.
Just a second. Do you have proof that you paid for the double wide, is my question.
I'm not sure if I got the one for the double wide. I got the one for the one I'm living in now. I'll have to look.
Not the one you're living in now. The one you're living in now you gave to her.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're talking about the double wide.
This is my nurse's aide. Can she come over and help me?
You want to see if she has it? If she has it, I'll take a look at it.
And I'm just a home health aide.
She's my home health aide. She works 5 days a week, 5 hours.
This young lady is the one that took her money, stole her money, and she has her over here saying all this. This is, I'm sorry, but this is wrong.
Miss Perdue, let me tell you what my problem with you is. My problem is with you is you're a lousy daughter. Because
Your Honor, no, I'm sorry.
Because I just
Your Honor, no. This woman abandoned me when I was 3 years old. She didn't come back in my life until I was 48 years old. She come back telling me she was doing all this. She wanted to be with my kids and her great-grandkids. And you turn around and do this.
Miss Perdue, I gave you an option to clean up this whole case and to make your mother, who has clearly made you financially more comfortable. Your mother's not going to live forever, shorter rather than longer. She wants the security of knowing she's not going to be thrown out of a trailer that you own. And I said to you, are you prepared to sign an agreement giving her a life estate in that trailer so she feels if she moves, she's no longer there and you can take it back. But if as long as she's living there, she knows that she has the right to have a home. And you answered no. Now, if you want to change your mind, I'll take back the fact that I think you're a lousy daughter.
I'm not a lousy daughter, Your Honor.
Well, then,
okay?
are you prepared?
And now, I don't have a problem with her signing a paper saying she can live there until whenever.
Just a second. No, just a second. Stop talking fast. Are you prepared to sign an order agreeing to let your mother live in the trailer that she's currently living in, that is in your name, for the remainder of her life?
Her apartment of the trailer, yes, ma'am.
Just a minute. So you're prepared to let her stay in her apartment? You have a rental apartment?
I put a wall in the middle of the hallway, so in case I wanted to get somebody, I had somebody that wanted to rent it.
Just a second.
There's a door.
My question to you is, she's prepared. Stop looking at your papers.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
With what company were you insured when you picked up the truck?
I wasn't insured.
So they let you pick up the truck from impound without showing them proof of insurance?
Yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ann Robertson says her daughter, Catherine Perdue, owes for a loan and a mobile home title.
Okay, she's prepared to sign an order that says that during your lifetime you can live in the portion of the mobile home that's 2 bedrooms and a living room and a kitchen.
Right.
She's prepared to do that. Do you want me to have her do that?
Yes.
Great. Then this case is over. We'll have you sign the document.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I thought it was very fair.
She made me look like a jerk in there.
I just don't want to be kicked out on the street.
Nobody said she was ever going to be put on the street.
I'd like for to be relationships with her again.
She's still invited to any and all the family functions, but we will not have that relationship.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Poquette versus Willis. Step forward.
Jack Poquette is suing motorist Jeffrey Willis for damaging his yard when he had an accident with his truck.
Mr. Poquette, it is your claim that the defendant drove his truck in an erratic manner onto your property and caused some damage. Caused damage to the sod, caused damage to a tree, caused damage to some piping. Mr. Willis denies that he caused any damage. You were not present.
Correct.
You found out about this as a result of receiving a communication from the police in your mailbox.
That's correct.
Do you have any witness who witnessed him driving onto your property?
No, ma'am, I do not. I do have parts of his vehicle that was in my tree and on the ground within the tree.
Do you have photographs of that?
Yes.
When did this happen?
May 23rd, 2016. I also have a police report that states he was...
Because, you know, without a witness, it's problematic for you. However, if you have a photograph, a piece of his car in your tree...
Oh, yes.
I think that that's sufficient. Now, you drove your car onto his property, clearly. You acknowledge that, correct?
Yes.
Why?
It was raining out and a deer ran out in front of me.
What time of the evening was this?
It was around midnight.
Where were you coming from?
I was coming from...
where?
Pardon me?
Where?
A friend's house.
Had you been drinking?
No.
Did you say no? And you left the car there? You left the truck there. How did you get home?
I had called a friend. He came and picked me up.
Why didn't you call the police?
I didn't realize... there was no one else involved.
Well, there was. You were on somebody else's property.
No, actually, I was on the other side of the road in a ditch.
And I'd like to see the note that the police left you as well.
That one I have in my phone. I have a picture, but it's out in my bags.
Just to show you. There. And he says
Okay, I got
there.
it. I got it. I see where the piece of his car was. So they towed your car, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever get your truck back?
Yes.
When?
About 4 days later.
The damaged tree was in the route of the fresh tire tracks in the ditch. Well, you told the police that you swerved to avoid a deer, and that's when he hit a tree and ended up in a ditch.
I hit a tree branch.
That's not what you said. You said you hit a tree.
They actually ended up in 3 ditches.
Shh.
I have one more police report, too.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. The original one does not have his insurance information on there because he didn't have insurance. I spoke with the officer
Just a second.
to get the insurance
Were you
information.
driving this truck without insurance?
Yes. Only because it was on a Saturday and I couldn't call the insurance company. It was on a Saturday and I couldn't call the insurance company to put insurance on it.
What do you mean, you bought it on Saturday?
No, I was just decided to drive it that day.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
So you were issued 2 citations on that day, sir. One for driving without insurance and one for leaving the scene of an accident.
I believe it's failure to report an accident. Yes.
Right. Well, let's leave it the same.
He told my...
When did you pick up the truck?
I believe about 4 days later.
With what company were you insured when you picked up the truck?
I wasn't insured.
So they let you pick up the truck from impound without showing them proof of insurance?
Yes. I picked it up. I picked it up on a trailer.
He did have pictures of it on the trailer.
Cover... Mr. Poquette, don't be annoying. Who covers the truck now?
It's not covered now. I don't drive it at the time.
Well, what'd you pick it up for if you don't drive it?
Well, I didn't want to let them keep it.
You've got an interesting answer, Mr. Willis, for everything. I want to see bills for all the damage that you had, sir.
Yes, ma'am. The top is the original.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,200. We're finished. Thank you.
Excuse you may step out.
Judge Judy.
There or not. 11 days after he makes the payment, you tell him it's over.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Monique Roberts is suing her ex-boyfriend, Donald Anderson, for a car payment, a traffic ticket, and emotional distress.
Order. All rise. It's case number 445 on the calendar in the matter of Roberts versus Anderson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Mr. Roberts, Mr. Anderson was your boyfriend. He moved in with you sometime in 2016. Is that right?
Yes.
When he moved in with you, the two of you decided to do a very foolish thing, and you purchased a car together, a brand new car that cost how much?
$28,000.
And you financed it?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do, Ms. Roberts?
I'm a senior legal typist for the Bureau of Real Estate.
And Mr. Anderson, what was he doing when he moved in with you?
At that particular time, he was a nurse for the VA clinic in East Palo Alto.
How long did you work for the VA?
4 years.
What happened to that job?
I left that job to help Miss Roberts take care of her foster kids, which were her niece and nephews. At that time, she said she needed help because she was going back to school to get her education, which she dropped out of school. And when she dropped out of school,
Now you're telling me you left a job that you had had for 4 years?
Because Monday, I will retire with 40 years of federal service.
Oh, well, so that's a different story. Now, that's a different story. So the altruism becomes somewhat different. When you retire,
yes,
then you get a pension.
Yes.
So you left work last April.
July.
And you never went back to work?
No.
How old are you, Mr. Anderson?
60.
When you moved in with Miss Roberts, did you have a car?
No, I didn't. I do not have a...
Did Miss Roberts have a car?
Yes, she did.
What kind of car did she have?
She had a Nissan Quest van.
Whose idea was it to get the car?
Her idea.
How come you didn't have a car?
I do not have a driver's license.
Have you ever had a driver's license?
Yes.
When was the last time you had a valid driver's license? 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
15.
15 years ago?
Yes.
So you had no use for a car?
Correct.
What?
Just to give you a little background, the reason we got this car the second time around in my name, the first time when we got a car, I put up my car for a down payment. It was a trade-in. Mr. Anderson, both our names were supposed to go on a contract. He took my name off, only had his name. So when he did something stupid, he decided to leave, and he took the car. They told me I had no rights to the car because my name was nowhere on the paperwork. So this time around when we got a car, I wasn't going back through that because I wasn't sure if he was up on an up and up or not because he's flaky. Anyway.
Just a second. Then you should have learned. Right now, you have the car, correct?
Yes.
And what this lawsuit is about, you want him to pay you for certain payments on the car. When he was living with you, that he said he paid. And when you ended the relationship, according to you, he reversed the payment on the car. Mr. Anderson says that's not what happened. Mr. Anderson said what happened was you got into his bank information and you made the car payment. And when he found out about it, he called his bank and reversed it. And there's also some ticket. What kind of ticket is it?
Okay.
Just tell me what kind of ticket it was. Is it a moving violation or a parking violation?
It is a moving, I guess it's considered a moving violation. He was driving, speeding, got pulled over. I was sleeping the passenger. It's my car. It's in my name. He was driving, no license. Officer gave me a ticket because I could not say for sure, 100%, he had license. I knew he was in court. Something's going on with the license. I didn't know the status of the license. So
what was he doing driving the car, Mr. Roberts? It sounds to me as if you've known each other for a long time. So you knew that Mr. Anderson did not have a driver's license. What was he doing driving your car?
He was driving my car because he was on his way to work. He had to be at work by 6 o'clock. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. You were with him? I was with him.
Just a second. Well, but you know he doesn't have a license to drive a car, so why was he driving? If you were with him, you have a license, and it's your car.
Because, Your Honor, I did not know for sure he did not have a license.
Ms. Roberts, I don't believe a word of that. Not a word.
He was
not a word. Now, so forget the ticket. Your car, you're supposed to know who's driving your car. Your boyfriend, it sounds like for a very long time, because you not only had one car, you had two cars, he used your car for a trade-in on another car. Sounds to me more than just a 2-3 month relationship. Put your hand down. Now, he stopped working July. When did he allegedly make these car payments that you're talking about that he reversed? What month?
The month the payment was made was November 19, 2016.
And how much was it?
$1,148.59.
The car payment was $700 a month. What was the $1,148 for?
He was bringing the car payment current. He's been making the payment since we got the car. The deal was he was going to pay for the car and the insurance, regardless if we were together or not. I said, that's not going to be realistic. I know that. Just bring the car current, put me back where I was before you came in lying to me, and we're done, and I'll take over.
Fine. And when did you break up with him?
That was the beginning of December.
So 2 weeks later?
I got it.
So just I'm asking you a question. So 2 weeks after he brought the car current, you broke up with him. That's either a yes or a no.
He moved out.
That's not my question. 2 weeks after he got your car current, you broke up with him and told him it was over. Is that correct?
Not quite, but yes. Because he moved out, Your Honor. We didn't actually break ties.
No, actually, not according to your complaint. You say, I ended the relationship, and he moved out in December.
That is correct, Your Honor.
When did you end the relationship?
We agreed to end the relationship in December. We had a trip planned. We were still in contact. He was still trying to negotiate our relationship. I didn't find out about the car payment being reversed until after the 4th.
Just a second. It was a very simple question. You ended the relationship in December.
Yes, Your Honor.
11 days after he made the car payment.
Okay, yes, Your Honor.
Tell me about ending the relationship.
He moved out, and I told him, I'm not going up for these threats anymore. You decide you're moving out, you stay gone. That's it. I'm no back and forth.
So he decided he was moving out first, or you ended the relationship. You know, I'm finding your answers a little bit vague. Mr. Anderson, how did it come about that you moved out?
It was supposed to be temporarily, and me and my brother, who was incarcerated, got out. We was going to get an apartment together. He didn't have the finance. I cashed in part of my retirement, which was the $1,400, and I got bank statements to verify that from November to January 4th. The car payment was paid on the 23rd of November, and I have statements where the bank took the payment and paid the merchant. The car supposed to be current according to my bank.
Just a second. According to you, they never reversed that payment?
Bank statements.
I'd like to see it.
Bank statements.
So on November 23rd, $1,148. Do you have December statement?
All the way up to January.
So you never reversed the payment?
I tried. They said because my card was used to pay that merchant, they see no fault. I said, okay, I wrote it off. I moved out of the state.
Okay, so I have his statements. Now, what I'd like to see is your check on or about the beginning of December for $1,148.59, because if they reversed his payment, you have to pay it.
I'm sorry, you said my check?
Or your check or your bank statement.
All I have is the statement from the company.
No, I don't want a statement from the company.
I don't understand. What do you want then? Because he paid directly to the company online for the note.
No, you want him to pay you this money. It looks as if he's already paid this money.
He can pay it back to, this is where the money's going, Your Honor. It's not going to me. It's reversing what he has done. I even have my payment statement printed up on the 31st of
On the 23rd of November, he paid $1,148. That's what his bank statement shows.
I agree.
Then what do you think he owes?
December 8th, that payment was reversed. And that's what...
not according to his bank statement.
Well, that's where I'm asking for proof. I got text messages. I sent it to him. I let him know. They said on January 4th...
Don't tell me what they said.
Well, that's the only way I was notified, Your Honor. And I have proof to verify the payment was reversed.
Did you make the payment?
No, Your Honor. He made the payment.
He made the... That's absolutely correct.
And he reversed the payment on December 8th. And that's what I have proof of.
Here is the December statement. December 5th. 15th, 30th, 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 and there is absolutely no reversal on the transaction description. None.
Okay, Your Honor, I understand what you're stating, and I was more than happy to dispute this with the car people as well. I asked Donald for the information so I could submit it. They are telling me as of January 4th, the payment was returned as of December 8th. Donald's saying it was paid. Everybody's saying it was paid, but there's no proof that it was paid.
I actually don't care. I actually don't care. Your car, you're the driver, you pay for it. But your car, you're the driver, you pay for it. The only proof that I have that it was paid is his bank statement.
Your Honor.
Your car, I have proof that it was paid. 11 days after he makes the payment, you tell him it's over, it's finished. That's according to your statement.
Your Honor, we had a verbal agreement in regards to the car, even with him driving. Only reason he got to even drive the car the time he was trying to make it to work on time is he even promised if there was any ticket or any fault, he was going to take responsibility.
Bye! You can't say to him, the car's in my name, you have no license, but I'll let you drive it anyway. What happens if while he's driving the car and he has no license and the car is in your name, he hits somebody and kills them? What happens? What? Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Do you understand that if your defense is that your dog couldn't have injured her dog because your property is fenced and yet your dog got out to get run over, those two things are contradictory. You do understand that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Monique Roberts says ex-boyfriend Donald Anderson owes for a car payment, a traffic ticket, and emotional distress.
Now, your insurance is going to say, I'm disclaiming he had no right to be in that car, just like the police said. Your car, your responsibility, you're in the car, you let an unlicensed driver drive your car. I don't know why he hasn't had a license in 15 years, and I don't care. Your car, your responsibility. You still have the car?
Yes, sir.
Pay for
yes,
it.
Your Honor.
We're done.
Parties are excused. They step out.
We had a verbal agreement. He said he was going to pay for it, and he should own up to it.
Justice prevail.
I feel I was treated unfair. He maliciously tricked me and just ruined everything.
Angry women say angry things.
Don't trust Donald Anderson. Get a man that's true to his word.
Just keep it real.
And not deceitful like he is. Sorry.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Samanis versus Rummel step forward.
Jennifer Samanis is suing her neighbor, Justin Rummel, for vet bills and a ruined garden after his dogs came onto her property and attacked her dog.
Miss Samanis, you recently bought a home which is next door to the defendant's home, and I assume that this is a relatively rural area.
Yes.
How many acres does your home sit on?
We have 4 acres.
And what about you, Mr. Rummel?
Mine's 10.4, ma'am.
Now, the plaintiff says that your cows ate her vegetable garden, wandered over into her property, and destroyed the vegetable garden. And in addition, sometime thereafter, your dogs attacked her dog. She has a small dog. She wants you to be responsible for the vet bill. Your defense is that that's impossible because your property is fenced.
Yes, ma'am.
That's your defense?
Yeah.
Your entire property is fenced?
Yeah, beside the roads going out of the driveway, get in and out.
All 10.4 acres?
Yeah.
I'd like to see pictures of the fence.
You have pictures that I have too?
Just a second. I didn't ask you for anything yet.
Okay. That's fine.
There's pictures.
What kind of dogs do you have, Mr. Rummel?
I got American Bulldogs. Well, the dog that she's claiming attacked her dogs, he ain't no longer alive.
What kind of dog was that?
An American Bulldog.
How big?
He's probably about 110 pounds.
What happened to the dog?
He got run over.
When?
About 2 months ago, probably.
How did he get into the road?
He got out in the road. I ain't sure how it happened, ma'am.
Well,
I was at work at the time.
But do you understand that if your defense is that your dog couldn't have injured her dog because your property is fenced, and yet your dog got out to get run over, those two things are contradictory. You do understand that?
Yeah. Well, ma'am, we live in the country. There's coyotes. There's all kinds of other animals out there.
She's going to tell me that she didn't see any other animals, sir. She's going to tell me that she saw your dog.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If my dog got attacked, I take my dog straight to the vet so the infection don't occur and then you don't have accumulating bills and stuff.
No, you would probably shoot him.
No, we wouldn't really shoot him.
No, I wouldn't
That's
shoot my dog.
how you train a dog in the country.
Happening.
Don't speak.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jennifer Samita says neighbor Justin Rummel owes for damages from a dog attack.
Okay, you want to tell me when this happened with your dog? I'm not getting into your vegetable garden.
Okay, that's fine. September 5th, 2016, I let my dog out in our yard.
What kind of dog?
It's a Schnauzer, 17 pounds. I heard her yelp. I ran out and saw two of his dogs on top of her.
On your property?
On our property, yes. So I ran out, and as soon as I ran out, his dogs took off and back into his yard, and then she took off. And
when you say they took off back into his yard, how did they get into his yard?
His yard is not completely fenced in. When he says a fenced in, they're like 2 poles. That's it. They can go underneath, yes, and there's plenty of openings.
Okay, did you take your dog to the vet?
I took her home to my house. I shaved her down. I cleaned it up. I talked to my mom and my sister. They both worked for vet clinics before. Sure. I took her to the vet a couple days later when I noticed she wasn't doing well. Yes.
And it's that bill you want paid?
That's the bill I want paid, yes.
Now, on September 16th, did you discuss what happened with the defendant?
Yes, I did. After she was released from the hospital a week later, I called him and
prior to that?
Oh, yes, I did. Actually, September 5th, the day of the accident, after I took my dog inside, I went outside, talked to him, told him what happened.
So he was home?
Yes, he was home.
Was he outside or inside?
He was inside. His kids were outside.
So you went and you knocked on his door?
No, I asked his kids. I
no,
do not
she went
go over.
screaming.
Shh. I would not go over to his house with his dogs out. He had 5 dogs. So I told his kids to go get their dad, and he came over and we had a discussion.
Where was it? Outside in the backyard?
It's kind of the side yard.
Tell me what you said to him and what he said to you.
I told him his dogs had attacked my dogs, and I was crying at the time, and then I'd let him know that, you know, if I do have to take my dog to the vet, I will let him know. And he said, that's fine. He said, you know, if you see my dogs, I said, your dogs are over here, your cows are over here. He said, if you see my dogs over there again, shoot them. And then he said, well, you know, with a BB gun. And I'm like, well, I don't own a BB gun, so.
How many dogs does he have now?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay, can I
I've seen 2.
Can I see the vet bill, please?
Yes. I believe on the 2nd or 3rd page is the complete bill. I have pictures of her too, if you want to see them.
I would.
Okay. Sorry. There you go.
Well, actually, that's very smart of you. I did that with one of my dogs once. He
With
got a little
yeah.
sleeve.
Makes it a lot easier.
It's much better than the cone.
Yeah. Well, she did wear the cone too.
Is dog okay now?
Yes, she's great.
Great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Want to see the bills, Mr. Rummel?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
If my dog got attacked, I think I take my dog straight to the vet so the infection don't occur and then you don't have accumulating bills and stuff.
No, you would probably shoot him.
No, we wouldn't really shoot
No,
him.
I wouldn't
Just
shoot
BB
my
guns.
dog.
That's how you train a dog in the
That ain't
country.
happening.
Don't speak.
My dogs sleep with me, man. I'd like you to look at the pictures of my dogs here.
Not interested. She came over to you immediately. She told you what your dog had done. She tried to take care of it herself. It was not possible. Whatever it is, you're responsible for those vet bills. That's it. It's simple. Judge for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,600. Thank you. There.
Nothing for the garden? Even though we've asked them numerous times?
$2,600. We're done. I suggest you put a fence around your garden.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm glad I get the vet bills paid, but the garden, you know, it's a lot of work to put a garden in. And
Well, she said my cow's got a native piece of cabbage. This garden's freaking tiny, you know?
Well, he doesn't come over and look at what we've planted and what happened, so he's never apologized for anything.
Because it's a country, stuff happens.
And I saw the dogs on top of my dog, so, and he knew it. That's all right.
If she had proof that she seen my dog doing it, there would be.
I said, just make payments, do something, because, you know, it's on the credit card and I need it paid off.
I just hope we can be neighbors, you know? I mean, we're going to have to be.
I'm glad it's done.
You know, they bought their property, I'm buying my property. That's how it's going to have to be.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Stuart and Barbara Strother are suing Claudia Areola for a cabin rental fee.
Order. All rise. This is case number 367 on the calendar, matter of Strother versus Areola.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. and Mrs. Struther, you own a cabin.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that cabin is located where?
It's in Wrightwood, California.
How long have you owned it?
We've owned that cabin for 4 years.
Do you have any other real estate in that area?
We do. 6 years ago, we bought a cabin that was just our family's little ski cabin, and we rented it out when we weren't using it. And since then, we've invested, and now we have 5 cabins in Wrightwood.
Just curiosity. How much does one pay for a cabin?
On the low end, when we bought this specific cabin, it was $95,000.
The one that the defendant rented?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you bought that 4 years ago?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you've always rented it?
That's right.
And you rented the Struthers cabin for what dates?
It was for August.
What dates in August?
It was August 15th.
Is that right? Is it August 15th?
No, Your
August
Honor.
15th?
What date?
August 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
I have it here.
Is that 4 nights?
Yes, Your Honor.
4 nights?
4 nights.
And who are you going with?
My 2 older daughters and my 15-year-old twins.
How much was the cabin?
Well, the total was $1,200, but that was with the deposit, so.
Without the deposit?
I think it was $1,042.
Is that correct?
No, Your Honor. The cabin was $860, and the security deposit was $200.
And did the defendant send that to you? $860 and the $200 security deposit?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you and your 4 children went to the cabin and arrived there on the 6th of August?
Yes.
So now you're fully paid the $860 for the 4 nights plus the security deposit?
I paid more than that. I have, it was $1,014 plus $200 for a security deposit, which I have here.
I'd like to see that. Oh, well, the 4 nights were $860. That's what it says here, $860. Cleaning was $85. You also brought a pet.
Yes.
Is that right? So there was a pet fee of $30. Trip cancellation protection you purchased. Damage protection you purchased. And service fee. Okay. But the cabin itself was $860.
Yes. My total cost.
And you went there with your 4 children and a pet?
Yes.
And you stayed there on the 6th?
We stayed there on the 6th.
Did you stay there on the 7th?
We did.
Did you stay there on the 8th?
No. We left on the 8th early.
You left on the 8th? Okay, so you didn't stay either the 8th or the 9th?
No.
And then you, sometime thereafter, complained to whatever banking institution it was that was handling these transactions, and you were issued a refund?
Yes.
Which they took out of your bank?
Yes, Your Honor.
Which is why we're here today.
That's right.
Because you believe that you are entitled to, you say $842.60. That's what you're suing for. How much was taken out of your bank? Is that what was taken out of your bank?
That exact amount plus some small fees.
$842.60. Okay, now you're going to tell me why you don't owe him that money.
Well, they falsely advertised. So when we rented the cabin, they advertised it as zip lining.
May I see it, please?
Yes. So my family and I...
Just a second. So sometimes in the wintertime there's skiing.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Skiing's very good.
And you were going in what month? August. So you weren't going skiing?
No.
Well, this says cheap ski and zip lines, okay? I read your answer, and your answer says that when you got there were no zip lines.
They had closed their doors.
Well, they don't own the zip lines, right?
But they
no, just pay attention. They don't own the zip lines.
Right.
There was no skiing either, right?
No, which we knew that.
You could have found out that there were no zip lines too. All you had to do was make a phone call.
Well, the zip line was there when we rented it. If it closed its doors, so we rented it in June, or paid it in June, July 14th, which I have a picture, they closed their doors. And if we had been, Wrightwood's a small town, if they had notified us, I think it's their responsibility as a cabin to notify us.
It certainly is not their responsibility to notify you. It's your responsibility. If you like hiking, if you like fishing, if you like zip lining, it's your responsibility. They rented you the cabin. At the time that they rented you the cabin, based on this, if I assume that this is advertising, this was perfectly accurate. At the time you rented it, it was perfectly accurate.
Yes. I also sent Barbara an email letting her know that my whole family was coming out, my daughter from New York, my other daughter from Northern California, specifically for zip lining, and that's why we were renting the cabin.
You know, the world is all about your responsibility. Your children were coming out. You get on the phone and say, by the way, not to them, to the zipline company, which was operational when you rented the cabin. If you have any doubt whatsoever that it's in operation, then you get on the phone and you say, is it in operation? But you can't just stop payment on leave. You rented the cabin. Somebody may just want to go there for hiking, and that's ziplining. I certainly wouldn't want to go any place for ziplining. I might want to go for the outdoors and walk around trails if it's pretty there. But I don't understand why it was paid for, why you left.
Because there was nothing to do. Wrightwood's a very small
children
town.
Who came to visit you from thousands of miles away, and you have this lovely cabin, and you couldn't find something to do with your children for 2 other days, like go out and prepare great dinners and sit around and talk to each other. I assume you don't see each other regularly.
We don't. The older ones, no.
And you're telling me that there was nothing that you could do with your family that you don't see regularly if there was no ziplining in what looks to me like a beautiful environment?
Well, we weren't enjoying the environment, and my children didn't want to stay.
Yeah, well, then you have spoiled children. But it's not their responsibility to keep you abreast of the comings and goings of business. You rented the cabin, you rented it for 4 days, you have a responsibility to pay for it, and you have your responsibility, because there's no false advertising here. You paid for something, you saw this, you liked it, you knew there was no skiing at the time that you rented it. There was, in fact, ziplining. It closed subsequently. I mean, I'm going to give you an example that is way out. What if it closed the day before you got there because there was a death? You think you would be entitled to your money back?
No, but...
What if it closed 2 days before you got there because somebody who was ziplining got disconnected and broke their neck, and they closed it down until they figured out whether it was safe? You think you'd be entitled to your money back?
No.
Okay, so you're picking an arbitrary time. You're saying, well, it closed in mid-July. From mid-July till the beginning of August, those 2 weeks. So you thought 2 weeks was too much. Well, $842, judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. Step out.
Well, as usual, Judge Judy showed a lot of wisdom in deciding this case.
I do think it's, as a property owner, it is your responsibility.
If you're coming up to hunt, I'm not responsible to make sure you have a hunting license.
You know that someone is coming out to the middle of nowhere to do something specific.
And you know the hunting season, that's up to you to know that.
I think that it is a responsibility to at least let me know in time to...
We're sorry for the family that they weren't able to do what they wanted to do.
Either cancel our reservations so that we could have done something else with our time off.
It was just unfortunate circumstances.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Martinez versus Perez. Step forward.
19-year-old Victoria Martinez is suing 20-year-old Jasmine Perez for the return of money she paid for a Saturn.
Miss Martinez, you bought a used car from the defendant and you want your money back. That's what the case is about.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you find the car?
I saw a post on a page on Facebook that we were both members of.
When did you purchase the car?
October 29th.
How much did you pay for it?
$3,000.
Did you write up a contract?
No, I do have the bill of sale, though.
Who wrote up the bill of sale?
At the bank they did for us, but we both signed it.
I'd like to see it. That's a contract. So the car's 10 years old?
Yes.
Great. So you went and took a look at it and you bought it the next day?
Yes.
And you took it home on the 29th?
Yes. Yeah, but I got
and then what did you do with the car?
I took the car home. My neighbor came with me to look at the car. We took it home, and then I had called to find out about getting it registered in California and what next steps we would take to do that. And then we waited a little while, and then we ended up...
What do you mean you waited a little while? What's a little while?
We waited about, I would say, 2 weeks to take it in, to get it checked over.
Okay,
because
so the car was in your possession for 2 weeks?
Yes, before we went and
Just
got
a
it
second.
again. Yes.
And then you took it to
the
mechanic?
Yes. The same mechanic. I have the receipt that she had taken the car to, just to get it checked over to see if everything was okay. And that's when we found out that the car had never been smog tested in the state of California, which I knew from research it was illegal to sell a car. And I thought that those records just went immediately to the DMV. I knew that there wasn't like a certificate of anything for that being done, so I thought that it had been smog tested.
Whatever you thought, you had the car in your possession for 2 weeks.
And I was under that impression. And then when
Your impression is really not important, Ms. Martinez. You bought a used car.
Right.
When you buy a used car, generally you buy it unless there is a guarantee. If you buy it off of a used car lot, sometimes there's a 30-day guarantee or a 90-day warranty. But usually when you buy a 10-year-old car from a private person, you buy it as is.
Right.
Now, what you do is when you buy a car, if you want to take it to a mechanic to have it checked, you take it and you say to the prospective seller, I'd like to have this car checked by my mechanic before you buy it. You knew enough to take the car to a mechanic 2 weeks later. What were you doing in that 2 weeks?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's what your mechanic told you.
Well, the mechanic told us the part was discontinued, which I have the receipt that they actually had told her that, so we can't get the car fixed technically. It will never be permanently fixed.
I don't know that. You want to tell me what she's talking about?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Victoria Martinez says Jasmine Perez sold her a car with issues.
Now, what you do is when you buy a car, if you want to take it to a mechanic to have it checked, you take it and you say to the prospective seller, I'd like to have this car checked by my mechanic before you buy it. You knew enough to take the car to a mechanic 2 weeks later. What were you doing in that 2 weeks?
Well, we were waiting to get it registered until my husband got paid again because we spent the money on the car. So we waited, but we had already talked to the mechanic about bringing it in and talked to him about
Whether you talk to the mechanic or not, you have to understand what the realities are. The realities are you had the car under your care and custody for a period of 2 weeks.
Right.
As she says in her response, I don't know what she did with the car in those 2 weeks. I don't know if she drove it. I don't know if her husband drove it. I don't know if anybody else drove the car in that 2 week period. When you gave it to her, did you take your plates off the car?
No, I did not.
So there were plates on the car, so you could have driven the car. Your husband could have driven the car. She could have driven the car. Who knows what happens to the car in that 2 week period of time? It wasn't the next day that you took it.
No.
No, I know, because she said it. 2 weeks later, I got a call from her and said that the car couldn't be smogged. There was a part that was missing. But she said, I don't know what she did with that car in 2 weeks.
Right.
Neither do I.
Well, we had taken it into the mechanic. We found out that it had
2 weeks later.
Right, that it had not been smog tested and that part was actually discontinued and wouldn't
The car
be able
had
to
Guam
help
license plates on it.
Right. But before you sell a car in California, I have the paperwork right here from the DMV that you do have to get a car smog checked, and it's illegal to sell a car that isn't smog tested in California.
Where's the car now?
It's at home. It's just been parked. We haven't drove it since.
Why not?
It's not registered, so.
Well, you should get it registered.
Well, we can't because it's not smog tested.
Get it smog tested.
Well, we can't get it smog tested because technically it's still in her name, and she was the one who had to get it smog tested. Like, the way that they explained it to us is I had to make sure that it was smog tested before I could register it, but technically, when she sold it to me without it being smog tested, it was an illegal transaction.
Ms. Martinez, the defendant will do whatever is necessary to cooperate with you in writing her name anywhere, I assume, to get the car serviced in whatever jurisdiction you choose. It's your car. Right. You have to do whatever is necessary to get the car registered out of her name.
Right.
Right.
Right. I just knew that we couldn't take it in. I wanted to make sure that it was,
should have done that
before.
Legal. I'm telling you, you should have done that before you bought it.
Right.
But now you have it, and you know what you have to do in order to get it done, right? Do you know what you have to do in order to put this car on the road and get the Guam license plates off the car?
Yes, I just knew.
Your mechanic needs to get a part.
Well, the mechanic told us the part was discontinued, which I have the receipt that they actually had told her that. She left me the receipt in the car from the repairs that she had done earlier on, and it said right on there that the part was discontinued, so we can't get the car fixed technically. It will never be permanently fixed.
I don't know that. You want to tell me what she's talking about?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There is no requirement that she has to tell you everything wrong with the car, but I would be smart enough. I would say I want to take it to the mechanic before I give you $3,000. What was your rush?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Victoria Martinez says Jasmine Perez sold her a car with issues.
Do you know what you have to do in order to put this car on the road and get the Guam license plates off the car?
Yes, I just knew.
Your mechanic needs to get a part.
Well, the mechanic told us the part was discontinued, which I have the receipt that they actually had told her that. She left me the receipt in the car from the repairs that she had done earlier on, and it said right on there that the part was discontinued, so we can't get the car fixed technically. It will never be permanently fixed.
I don't know that. You want to tell me what she's talking about?
When I brought the car back from Guam, I knew it had to be registered because I planned on keeping it, and so I was going to get the check engine light fixed because they couldn't fix it over in Guam. And when I got to the place, to the mechanic that she also went to, they told me it was miswiring, and that's what it was. It's also on the receipt that she has.
What was miswiring?
I'm not entirely sure. Just something in the car somewhere was miswired, which was why the check engine light was on. And that's what is on the receipt. That's what they told me. The check engine light was off, and then I think 3 hours later it came back on. I called the guy at the mechanic store. He said that we probably just didn't clear it out all the way, so to take it back. I never got around to doing that. I was driving my husband's car, and I just never did it. And then I sold the car to her. I told her beforehand the check engine light was on, and it was still registered in Guam, that she would have to fix those things. Well, I also said I would go get it checked for her that week, but she came over, I think it was like on a Saturday or something, so I couldn't go. I said I would do it that week. I have proof of those messages.
Can I see the
Yes,
messages? Did she offer to go to get the check message light fixed for you?
She told me that all I had to do was take it in and get it checked, and then
did
it would
she
be
offer
fine.
to go with you the following week?
No, she didn't offer to go with me. She had mentioned that if she
I have the
said
messages
that there was something wrong, that she could get it checked.
The only thing wrong with it is the check engine light is on.
Right.
I was told it was because it was miswired. I can get it checked again for you to be sure.
But on the
Just a second.
Okay.
So she told you that the check engine light was on, and she said, I can go next week.
But she didn't advise me. I have the receipt from the mechanic that was in the car when she sold it to me, and she did not advise me that it says right on here that they told her that the evap value line was messed up and that that's a non-replaceable part.
So?
She just never informed me of that, and that's
there is no requirement when you are selling a car to a private person, Miss Martinez, that she has to tell you everything wrong with the car.
Right.
But I would be smart enough if the check engine light was on in the car, and she told me that before I bought it.
Right.
I would say I want to take it to the mechanic before I give you $3,000. What was your rush?
Because me and my husband both have jobs working full-time at different places, and when we moved out here and we only had the one vehicle, and I was actually just beginning to start my new job, so I needed a vehicle to get to work also.
Just a second. So the rush was on your part.
Right. I just had asked her.
The rush was on your part.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
But 2 weeks then, based upon what you just told me, you drove this car.
No. We didn't drive
Miss Martinez, you just told me that the reason that despite the fact that she told you that the check engine light is on the car and I can get a check next week for you, you insisted on buying the car that day. And you just told me that you had to buy it that day because you and your husband came here, you both had jobs, you only had one car.
Right.
Now you have 2 cars because you bought her car, which means either you or your husband drove this car for 2 weeks before you took it to the mechanic.
No, I was saying I had just got offered that new job. I hadn't started my job yet. I had just got offered it.
Then
so
you should have taken the car to the mechanic before you bought it. You don't have a case.
It was just, I know that it's illegal to sell a car.
You don't have a case.
And she had told me it was smog checked.
You don't have a case.
Okay.
We're done. Thank you.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy.
She was over me, straddling me, grabbing me like this. Once I kind of realized what was going on, I started to fight back.
What injuries did you suffer?
I had 2 brain surgeries after this incident.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Barnetta Anderson is suing her former friend, Antoinette Coleman, for a false restraining order and pain and suffering due to an assault.
Order. All rise. That's case number 302 on the calendar in the matter of Anderson versus Coleman.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, huh?
Miss Anderson, you and Miss Coleman used to be friends, and then sadly you had a falling out. Subsequent to the falling out on the 6th of November of last year, it is your claim that Miss Coleman assaulted you.
Yes.
Miss Coleman says it was a fight, but it was a fight that you started. You want to tell me where this happened?
Your Honor, can I start with how it happened, if that's okay with you?
Sure.
Okay, Your Honor, on June of 13th, Antoinette and her cousins was on the phone. They was having an argument because Antoinette and her sister had slept with the...
No. We're not going to go back to talking about anybody else's bad business.
Yes.
Great.
Okay, well, Antoinette had texted me and cursed me out.
Is that the text message she sent you?
No, this is the text message, my reply, because I sent it to her witness and my witness because we were all hanging together. So I sent it to them so it wouldn't be any nonsense, my reply to her.
Just a second. I would like to see her text to you.
I don't have her text to me.
Do you have it?
No.
This happened a year ago, Your Honor.
I had the reply because it was saved in my witness's phone.
What good is the reply going to do to me if I didn't see her text?
Okay, because it was just telling her that I didn't have anything to do with her family business. Leave me out of it.
Fine. Do you remember getting that text that she didn't have anything to do with your family business?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
so that was a while ago. That was in June.
Yes.
And?
So after this time, I was getting threatening messages. I told them then and there, please.
No, not them.
Antoinette and Andrea, her witness.
These two?
Yes, and their other sister. Please stop contacting me. I will call the police. It stopped after like 3-4 days. So this was June. Going to November the 6th, I have not had any contact with them at all. And at this time, myself, my witness, and another female was coming out of the Orpheum Theater. We seen some family members, close friends that we knew. We stopped and we talked to them. As we were standing there talking to them, one of the other people that was in her group came up and I spoke to her. We were all just talking. At that time...
What was the name of that person?
Her name was Monica.
Was she with you that evening?
Yes.
Okay.
So she came in and came cut between us.
Who came between us?
Monica. She just came over, you know.
I don't So far, I'm not seeing that you had any contact with her at all. So far, you were talking to some of your friends. Somebody that was with her group came up and talked to you. Where was she?
I didn't know at this time.
Okay, so you didn't know?
Yes. So I was facing the wall, so my back was against the crowd. Next thing I know, personally, I woke up, I was laying on the ground. I have a videotape right here that...
Just tell me what happened.
Okay, I woke up. She was over me, straddling me, grabbing me like this. I heard her witness, Andrea Coleman, hollering, let them fight, let them fight. She was right at my head, and I've seen
her.
Who was her? Andrea Coleman was at my head, and I seen her, and I thought she was attacking me also. So I immediately started to attack. Once I kind of realized what was going on, I started to fight back. That's when she bit my hand, and then a guy out the blue.
Who bit your hand?
Antoinette. And that's when a guy from the crowd came and grabbed her up off of me. And I stayed there days because I'm trying to focus because I just woke up and I'm trying to figure out these people I've known for over 20 years. My kids and Andrea's kids are cousins. I could never believe that they were attacking me just out the blue. So I'm standing there, and then immediately I just left. I didn't tell my witness or anybody what I was doing. I went next door. I called the police, and I have the police statement.
I'd like to see it.
Here you go.
Now, Ms. Coleman, I would like you to tell me your version of it, and then I'm going to see the video.
Okay, on November 6th, we was at the comedy show, and like she said, prior to that, we got into an altercation over the phone.
In June?
Yes, back in June. Barnetta is a busybody. She liked to be involved and stuff.
I didn't let her tell me because I didn't think that you wanted 10 million people to hear details of what the argument was about. Was I right about that?
Yeah, she was right.
Right. So I'm not going to let you tell me that she was a busybody.
Okay. So then at the Orpheum, how it's made, they have a downstairs and an upstairs. We were sitting downstairs, they were sitting upstairs. So we were coming out, they were coming down. So I seen Barnetta, but I proceeded to walk out of the Orpheum. Barnetta decided to follow me out of the Orpheum. So by then, all of these people is coming out of the Orpheum Theater. I get a few push from behind. I turn around, Barnetta Anderson is behind me. So I continue to walk out of the theater. But when we got outside of the theater, we stopped waiting for everybody else to come out the theater. Barnetta stopped right along with me, behind me. So by then I'm agitated because I already got pushed by you. So then,
well, you don't know who pushed you.
Well, I turned around, Barnetta was behind me.
Okay,
so
go ahead.
By then, I had confronted Barnetta like, you know, why are you following me? At this point, all I remember is her pushing me back, and then it was just like an attack. And we ended up on the floor because my sister tried to come and grab me. But when she grabbed me, she fell back, I fell back. Barnetta fell on top of me. That's why Barnetta had scrapes to the knees, because she fell on top of me. I pushed Barnetta off of me. And when I pushed Barnetta off of me, that's when the tape shows me on top of Barnetta. Barnetta never blacked out. Barnetta fought back. It was a mutual altercation.
It was started by somebody. Did she get an order of protection against you?
We both had one.
No.
Yes, she did.
She did?
Yes.
She filed for protective order? Mm-hmm. Did you have a hearing?
Yes.
And was she granted a protective order?
Yes.
Did you file a protective order?
Yes.
Did you get a protective order?
They put a temporary. Yes.
Not temporary. Did you ultimately get a protective order?
Yes.
Let me see it. For how long?
Until we actually had our hearing.
Did you have a hearing?
Yes.
Is my question. Now, what happened after the hearing?
After the hearing,
it was dismissed.
It was dismissed.
Correct. So she filed for protective order. You had a hearing. Court heard that testimony because it all relates to the same night, and her protective order was granted. After she filed for protective order, you filed for protective order. You had a hearing. Court heard your testimony. I assume you brought any witnesses that you wanted to.
No, my witness wasn't able to make it.
I suppose you brought any witness with all these people who were around who would have testified on your behalf. Court heard the testimony and dismissed your application for a protective order. Said you didn't need it. Didn't believe you. Now I'll see the tape.
Your Honor, we also have a voicemail also. Andrea Coleman, like maybe 10 minutes after the fight, when she talked about what had happened and I got what I deserved. And it's very vulgar. I don't know if you want to hear it here in court.
Oh, I love vulgarity.
Okay. As you can see in that tape, Your Honor, I'm not moving. That's me with my hands up, not moving. Andrea's at my head and Antoinette is on top of me. You see my legs is not moving at this time, Your Honor.
But your arms are.
Yeah, because you're shaking me.
Are you wearing the green sweater?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the guy pulling her off of me, Your Honor. And now he's exiting her out the door. We were never out.
No, he wasn't exiting it. Someone else was.
So you was outside the door again.
What injuries did you suffer?
Your Honor, I have pictures also. Actually,
I'd like to see them.
I have the before and the after. I still have the scar on my forehead and also on my legs. I also have a medical. I went straight to the doctor. After I took those pictures in the ambulance and I went to the hospital, I had various injuries to my head where she pulled out my hair.
Are these stitches in your forehead?
No, that's actually a dent which I still have in my head from where I hit my head on something which made me pass out. I have a condition called Chiari malformation, which caused you to be dizzy and unstable. I had 2 brain surgeries after this incident. I would never attack her when I'm already dealing with instability.
I would like to hear the voice message. Did you call her?
Yes.
And she was there. She was the one standing at your head.
In my head.
Right. I'd like to hear it heard.
You have 2 saved messages. Saved message. At the end of the day, tell your
I can't hear that.
At the end of the day, nobody killed Barnetta. I'm trying to stop my sister from beating Barnetta. She deserves oh well. Let it be done. When the video come out, the she did not get jumped. So don't go around talking about jumped in.
I can't understand. You're going to have to...
They talked about all of us. You low down dirt.
Nice. I'm done. Ms. Coleman, all I have to do is tell you this. You are defined by your language.
That's not even me on that phone call.
Who is it?
I don't know.
That's not you?
That is not me on that phone call.
She said she called Barnetta, not her.
That's somebody else's phone. Listen to the phone number. Ask Barnetta what's her phone number.
That was Andrea Coleman, and she also works at the hospital.
And?
So that's how she acts.
Okay, it's a relatively easy case for me. Court of competent jurisdiction has already heard your complaints against each other, found in favor of the plaintiff. I'm going to do the same. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done.
Thank you.
Please excuse me, step out.
Because Barnetta is a busybody and she likes to be in stuff that don't have nothing to do with her.
Well, actually, I'm very happy that she's seen the truth and knew that that was the truth.
Because she was speaking on things that didn't have nothing to do with her.
These women are very vicious, and
she threw the first blow.
By the voicemail you can hear, they're dangerous.
She got what she deserved.
Oh, yeah, I feel like, yeah, she should have to pay.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Rykuber versus Elliott. Step forward.
Janie and Gary Rykuber say Ken Elliott owes for the return of their deposit on a chapel for their daughter's wedding.
Mr. and Mrs. Rykuber, you were planning your daughter's wedding.
Yes.
Is that your only daughter?
Yes, it is.
And when was the wedding to take place?
March 14, 2015.
You went to a venue that was owned by the defendant.
Yes.
How did you find that venue?
My daughter and her fiance were driving by and saw us and we'll take...
Okay. Yeah. You could stand up and tell me, because your parents weren't with you. Tell me your first name.
Diana.
Diana, when did you see the venue?
We saw it in July, shortly after my fiance and I had just been engaged, and we thought the building was beautiful, and they had a sign out.
Do you have pictures of it?
We do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
There you go. We thought the building was beautiful, so we saw a sign out front saying that they hosted events.
This is a pretty building. It would make a nice courthouse, too.
Yes, it would.
Did you own this venue, Mr. Elliott?
I did not.
Who owned the venue?
Ron Smith.
He told us he owned it.
Don't speak.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
These are very nice things that you had printed out with your cell phone number on it, under new ownership. But that's a lie.
It really wasn't.
No, it is a lie. You clearly gave it to them. They didn't steal it out of your attaché case.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Janie and Gary Rycoober say Ken Elliott owes for the return of their deposit on a chapel for their daughter's wedding.
Now, how do you know Ron Smith?
The sign out front had his name or number on it, and I called him. I was interested in purchasing the building. He's a contractor, and we actually had not entered into a contract, but we were in negotiations to purchase the building.
Who's we? And
I'm sorry, I was in negotiations to purchase it.
In what month and year?
I was to purchase the building after he had completed...
Just a second. Month and year that you began negotiations on the building?
I'm sorry, July of 2014.
And am I correct that there was never a formalized contract?
That is true.
Never a writing of any kind between you and Mr. Smith?
That is true.
So, for all intents and purposes, you have no connection with this building. You are not a rentor, you are not an owner, and he wasn't paying you to manage it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, there is a phone number here that's crossed out and written, whose number is 316-86.
That's mine.
Your number.
Right.
And they're not good guessers, so they didn't pick this number at random. So I must assume that you crossed out the number that's printed on this document and wrote in your own number.
No,
somebody had to write it in, sir.
Somebody, but I don't know that it was me.
Is that your cell phone?
It's my business phone. It's a cell phone.
Is your cell phone? Is that your cell phone? If I were to call you that number, would it buzz in your pocket?
It does go to my cell phone.
Okay, so they're not good guessers. You crossed out the number and put in your own number.
I don't know that I crossed it out.
Yes, you did.
Unless I
Yes, you did. Crossed it out and you put in your number. Now, how much money did you take from the plaintiffs?
Approximately.
I don't want to know approximately.
$3,413, and that was the first half, a little bit less than the first half of the total wedding.
I didn't ask you for anything. Between July of 2014 and March of 2015, did you ever finalize in any way a negotiation with Ron Smith?
No, we did not.
Did not. Okay. Were you married at this chapel?
No, Your Honor.
Tell me, since you loved it, what happened?
Well, my fiance and I began making plans. We did have a couple of meetings with Ken Elliott and Marcy here, who is
with Mr. Elliott.
Correct.
Now, did Mr. Elliott in these meetings ever hold himself out to be the owner of this?
Yes, he did.
Of course, otherwise you would say, why would I give him money?
Correct.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There was no heat in the building.
There was heat in
Kansas. So if I had any brains, and clearly these people have brains, I would say to myself, I've got to find an alternative venue and not risk people have to wear their mucklucks and their boots to the wedding.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Janie and Gary Rycoober say Ken Elliott owes for the return of their deposit on a chapel for their daughter's wedding.
Now, he said he owned the premises.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Do you have any, other than your word, do you have any proof of that?
It says under new ownership.
May I see it?
With his name.
And his number on it.
Well, these are the very nice things that you had printed out with your cell phone number on it. Under new ownership, the Grand Chapel. But that's a lie.
It really wasn't.
No, it is a lie. You don't own it. You didn't own it when you printed these things. You don't own it now. And you clearly gave it to them. They didn't steal it out of your attaché case.
No, we did.
No.
We gave it to them. However...
I don't want to hear a however. Now, you loved the venue.
I did.
So why didn't you have your wedding there?
Because my fiance and I definitely had cold feet when we drove by the building, saw a neon sign on the door. We went up to the sign, read it, which we also have a picture of.
I'd like to see the sign.
And it stated that the building had closed. And the reasoning was that there was a boiler that wasn't working.
Just a second. Okay.
And we had never
So this is what you saw. Okay.
Correct.
And you saw this February 7th.
Yes.
2015, and your wedding was scheduled for a month later.
Correct.
Okay, so that got you worried.
Very disheartening.
That got you worried.
Yes.
So building has no heat, and they don't have enough money to put in heat, so they're doing fundraisers. They did a mystery dinner theater, but that didn't raise enough money. They're going to try to do another fundraiser, but they don't have a venue yet in order to get something.
We were not responsible for paying for those repairs or for the heat.
I don't care. There was no heat in the building.
There was heat in the building. There was heat in the building, and we did get heat in the building.
Please, Mr. Elliott. Mr. Elliott, why in the world would you, I mean, are you a businessman? Clearly you have some money. You have to have some money because otherwise you wouldn't be in negotiations with Ron Smith to buy this historic building. So why in the world would you put yourself in a position of not returning their $3,400? They didn't have the wedding there. There was good reason why they weren't sending out invitations to a building that at that point, a month before the wedding, didn't have heat. So if I had any brains, and clearly these people have brains, I would say to myself, I've got to find an alternative venue for my wedding and not risk coming to March 14th and having people have to wear their mucklucks and their boots to the wedding. So why wouldn't you just return their $3,400?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
So why wouldn't you just return their $3,400?
Because we repaired the boiler in the facility. After that was printed up, and we did get heat in the building. Ron was working with me, and we did get the boiler fixed, and we did have
Show me.
Your Honor.
Just a second. Show me.
That the boiler worked?
No, show me the paid bill for the repair of the boiler that either you paid or Ron paid. Show me the paid bill.
I don't have that.
$3,400. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Well, I'm very pleased because it was very hard planning a wedding without a venue.
If the problems would have been an issue for their wedding, absolutely.
We've tried contacting him so many times.
But the
I called to say hello. He told me he had a girlfriend. He didn't say who.
It could save you breath and save you time. He doesn't make any money.
Former friends and lovers cross paths again.
What's more ridiculous is that the two of you are fighting over him.
Then she drove by their home.
I hear a big boom, and a brick came through, and it shattered my window, and the brick hit me in the face.
Well, did you see who threw the brick?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 20-year-old Destiny Arnold is suing her former friend, 21-year-old Jasmine Dancer, for assaulting her over a man.
Order. All rise.
We got loads of attitude going here.
This is case number 302 on the calendar, Madam Arnold versus Dancer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Zandori?
Yes, ma'am.
Your daughter went into rehab. She was heavily addicted to drugs.
Yes. An ex is called upon to rescue a pet.
Her mother said, either you take the dog or I'm sending it to the pound.
That dog means a lot to me.
Years later, she's back.
She came in and said, well, I'm going to take Molly. I said, you're not.
He tried grabbing the leash from Molly, and there's a little bit of scuffle because of the fact that he's trying to get Molly.
I had to call the police.
You're all nuts.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Charles Green is suing his ex-roommate, Deanna Rebahan, for a loan, rent, the return of a dog, and an assault.
Order. All rise. It's case number 543 on the calendar in the matter of Green versus Rebahan.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Mr. Green, you and Miss Rebahan had a relationship for how many years?
We dated for probably 2 to 3 years.
Did you remain friends after you dated?
Yes.
Just friends?
Just friends.
Not intimate friends?
No.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
And Miss Rebahan, there came a time when you went into a rehab program. For what?
All substances. I just say everything.
Tell me when you went into rehab.
I went in January of 2015 into one, and then I ended up going for like 7 months to another. So that I ended up being done with treatment in it was March of 2017 or 16.
And you have a child.
I have a child.
How old?
She's 3.
So that child was born either right before you went into rehab in 2000?
She was born before I went to treatment.
Was she born addicted to drugs?
She was born addicted to oxycodones.
Who took care of her?
My best friend, Christine. She was the the foster mom.
And did she remain in foster care with your friend until you were released from rehab?
Yes.
Was she formally returned to you through the court, or did your friend just return her to you?
She returned her to me.
So she was not formally released to you from a court?
No.
Was she still under court jurisdiction?
Yes, I was not allowed to have her.
But your friend gave her to you anyway. Where is she now?
She's with me. This was a long time ago. She's been with me for a year and a half.
Was she ever formally released to you by the court?
Yes, she was.
During what period of time did you live with Mr. Green?
I lived with him for 5 months. And that was
from when to when?
That was from September until February.
And he took you in after you were released from rehab?
No, that's not correct.
When did he take you in?
He took me in from September to February.
Well,
I went out of treatment
why?
years ago. Because I lost my apartment. We had cockroaches in this place I moved into, and he saved me from having to live there anymore. So I stayed with him until I got a new place, and that's what I did. It took me 5 months to find a new place to live.
How do you support yourself?
I clean houses. And I was a student at SEC, taking business management for hotel resort management at Spokane Community College.
Are you still under the jurisdiction of the family court?
I haven't been involved with family court for 2 years.
I'm not following your time frame. You said you first went into rehab in 2015.
Yeah.
And you were in rehab off and on, according to you, for years.
Yeah, for almost 2 years.
This is only beginning of 2018.
Okay, well,
and if you had your daughter back for 2 years, that would be 2000, minimally 16, which would...
My daughter's 3rd birthday, I had her with me already. That was already a done deal. I've had her with me...
Just a second. Well, you just told me she was 3.
She's turning 4 next month. My daughter is. She'll be 4 next month.
I'm not following your time frame.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get it right for you. My daughter, I was still involved with family court because they don't just give your daughter back to you. They work it slowly.
Just a second. I've worked in family court.
Okay, so I had her for 6 months living with me before I was actually released with her to legally just go wherever I wanted to. So I was working with them for over 2 years, almost 2 years, because she was born addicted, and then I had gotten her back. My best friend gave her back to me, and then they came back and got her again, put her in a different foster home. And then that's where...
I knew we were going to get to a story.
That's exactly what it is.
I knew, just a second. I knew we were going to get to a story.
Yeah.
So what happened was you took your daughter back from your friend without family court approval. They found out about it, and they removed her from you again.
Immediately.
And this time placed her with somebody else, not your friend, because they couldn't trust your friend not to give her back to you. Right. Now, all that happened within the last 2 years. When was the last time you were in contact with a social worker from family court?
Since June of 2016. Sorry, 2017. I don't know the exact dates, but I know that I've had my daughter forever, and this is irrelevant to the case, but yeah, totally irrelevant and nothing to do with my daughter at all. This is kind of it's a dirty deed is what it is, and that's not cool, but...
Well, it has something to do with the case, because that's why Mr. Green...
It's not nothing to do with my dog.
Just pay careful attention to me. Has to do with 2 things. Mr. Green says, actually 3 things. Mr. Green says that you owe him for rent. I'm not so sure, because he took you in, he knew you had no place to go, he knew you had no job, he knew you were a mess, he knew you had a 3-year-old. I don't think that he expected initially you to pay him rent. Is that correct, Mr. Green?
That's right.
It's just been a long time since this has happened. I don't understand why this is even brought up, but I don't understand why he's even a drug addict and losing my child. That's good. That's got nothing to do with the case whatsoever. But thank you. I see this is going to work out.
So I don't think that when she came to live with you, you expected rent.
Not for the first while, no. Because I wanted to give her a chance to get on her feet.
Correct. How much of a chance did you give her to get on her feet before you wanted her to pay you rent?
I have to say she lived 7 months, and I gave her the chance to 3 months.
Mr. Green, who do you live with?
Me, myself, and I.
Tell me what kind of premises you have.
I didn't hear that.
You have a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, you live in a house?
I have a 2-bedroom house.
Okay. And the defendant lived there with you for, according to you, 7 months, and you let her have the first few months without rent.
That's correct.
When did she first come to live with you?
It was mid-June.
June of what year?
Of 2017.
And she moved out in February?
The end of February, yes.
And tell me the circumstances surrounding her leaving.
She had finally found a place to stay, which was good, because it was not very comfortable with what was going on there.
Well, you're going to tell me what was going on there.
What happened was it turned into not my house. It turned out like she made it to look like her house. My friends, my family did not come around anymore. It was just, it made the house non-livable because of the attitude. Exactly.
It's your house. So when did you ask her to leave?
Back in October, November, I asked her, you need to find another place to live.
Okay, and she finally did in February.
Yes.
And the place you found to live was where?
I got a house over in the city.
Who lives there?
Me, my daughter, and my dog. Well, my son and my granddaughter now, because this is my son's girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend. She's living with Charlie now, and I'm taking care of her daughter. And my son stays there too, and he works nights. I take care of her daughter. She hasn't seen her in months. And she's been a part of my life since my son was 14, so she knows all about everything that's going on.
Who was your son living with?
My son's staying at my house. They were together.
Who was he?
Oh, he was living with Charlie as well.
When you were in rehab?
He was living with Charlie as well. When I left with my dog with him, my son was living there as well. And then he got a girlfriend and he kicked everybody out and then he kept my dog. That's what we're here for.
We're forgetting about the rent business.
Yes.
I'm forgetting about the rent business. We're moving on to the dog. You say that when the defendant left, she took your dog and there was an altercation the day she left. Do you want to tell me about that altercation and the dog?
The dog is registered and I'm the owner.
I'd like to see that.
This is from the Spokane County Animal Control, and it shows that I've been the owner since 2015, I believe, on there.
That's when I went to treatment.
Shh. The dog's name is Molly.
Yes.
And the dog has been with you since 2015.
Yep.
And that's about the same time that the defendant went into rehab.
Yes.
Okay, so before that, the dog lived with her.
Yes, it was.
And when she came out of rehab, she lived someplace else that had bugs and it was bad, and the dog still lived with you.
Yes, I got a call from her mother stating that if I wanted the dog, because if I didn't, she was going to get it, take it to the pound.
When did you get a call from her mother? Was that in 2015?
Yes.
This is her mother?
Yes.
Great. Stand. Your daughter went into rehab in 2015. She was heavily addicted to drugs.
Yes.
Which messed up her brain.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, she had a dog.
Molly.
She left the dog with you.
Yes.
Pay careful attention. When she left the dog with you, did you have any other dogs?
Yes.
How many other dogs did you have?
One.
What kind of dog did you have?
A Doxy.
And what kind of dog did your daughter have?
A pit bull.
She had a pit bull named Molly.
Uh-huh.
And you called Mr. Green.
Yes.
I want to hear what you said to Mr. Green, because what you said to him had to have resulted in him taking Molly.
Yes.
So he didn't come and steal Molly from you?
No.
Okay, your daughter, I don't want you to speak.
I'm sorry.
You know, I'm beginning to question the fact that you're taking care of two little children. I'm telling you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm not sure why you wanted to live with that kind of energy.
Compassion.
Your Honor, could I say one thing, if I may?
Do you think that your daughter has a problem?
Yes.
Me too.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Charles Green says ex-roommate Deanna Rebahan owes for a loan, rent, a dog, and an assault. Deanna's countersuing for stolen property and a false arrest.
Okay. When you called him, you had been placed in charge of Molly.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you called Mr. Green and said what?
Molly had attacked my Doxy.
And?
And I called Charlie up to let him know that I couldn't keep Molly.
And said what to him? Well, I mean, if you called me and said I can't keep Molly, I would say, what does that have to do with me? You can't be, but that's a, so you called him and said.
Yes, I would have had to put her somewhere else.
Where else? Put her in boarding school?
No, probably a rescue.
A shelter?
Yes.
Where someone would have adopted her. Where someone would have adopted her.
Yes.
And he said, no, I'll take her.
Yes.
Fine. Then the dog is his. You have to understand, you left your mother in charge of the dog. Your mother was going to, listen to me very carefully. Your mother was going to put the dog in a shelter in the hopes of, instead of euthanizing the dog, someone would have adopted her.
My dog's almost dead.
Listen to me.
14 years old.
Listen to me carefully. The dog belongs to Mr. Green. Now, you left in February. She's had the dog since February?
What happened at the end of February, there was an incident at my house that she was moving out. She came in and said, well, I'm going to take Molly. I said, no, you're not.
Your mom gave me the dog.
Yeah, I mean, and I've licensed it and taken care of it.
I love it.
So there was an incident that she got physically, and I had to call the police for a domestic violence call.
How physical?
How physical?
What kind of physical?
Well, she threw Molly's water dish at me. She threw a bottle of Gatorade at me. She also came by and tried to hit me. She poured a whole brand new deal of maple syrup on my kitchen floor, and then went out the door with Molly and got to her car, and then pulled out some mace and tried to spray me with that. And then she took off.
Where was her 3-year-old all during this time?
The child was outside in the car.
He doesn't know about it.
During this incident, when you were arguing with Mr. Green over Molly,
yes,
where was your daughter?
My daughter was with her daddy, and her daddy was sitting out in his car with his roommate, that he's got a roommate. They were both outside. And so my daughter was sleeping in the car.
Your daughter?
Sleeping in the car. We were in the house talking. We were in the house arguing. We weren't outside.
Your daughter was with her father?
Her father, yes.
Outside in the car?
In the car, talking to, he was standing outside the car talking.
Listen to me carefully, Mr. Green. I'm going to try to be as plain-spoken as I can. I don't know what the hold is, but I know that it would be difficult to live with that kind of energy. So I'm not sure why you wanted to live with that kind of energy. I'm not sure.
Compassion.
Okay.
Well, I saw words they were living before.
Okay.
Your Honor, could I say one thing, if I may?
Sure.
It was till Deanna could get him. I just wanted to say that, till Deanna could get her back. That's all I need to say.
Listen.
Thank you for watching the dog.
You've got a couple of things to think about. Do you think that your daughter has a problem?
Yes.
Me too.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She's not going to leave you alone if you have this dog. And I wouldn't want that energy around me if I were normal. Now, I'm not so sure you're normal.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Charles Green claims ex-roommate Deanna Rebehan moved out owing for rent and a loan. He's also suing for the return of a dog and an assault.
Now, if I were you and I was smart, Mr. Green, what I would do is say, I don't want the dog. I don't want any connection to her. Do you understand? Now, if you maintain a connection with her for any reason, I don't know who this waif is. Does she live with you?
She's living with me right now, but we are just friends.
Listen to me. Compassion is one thing, stupidity is another. Do you understand?
Yep.
I don't know what your drill is. I don't know what your thing is. I would forget about the dog because I would cut any tie with her, because if I say to you, and I actually believe that legally the dog is yours, she's not going to leave you alone. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
She's not going to leave you alone if you have this dog. And I wouldn't want that energy around me if I were normal. Now, I'm not so sure you're normal. I'm speaking seriously, and it's not fun. I'm not sure you're normal, because I couldn't live with that energy, because I'm not so sure about that energy right now. Having long experience, I'm not so sure about energy. And I don't know who this waif is that's looking at me with blue eyes. I have no idea who she is. I know she's a person who has a child, right? That doesn't live with you.
No.
That lives with her.
Because it's kind of the same thing with the dog is happening to my child right now.
You're all nuts. Okay, so she doesn't owe you any rent. I think that it's wise. If you want me to give you an order that you can go and retrieve Molly, I will do that. But that ties you to her, because she's going to get erratic one day and come to your house and break a window or break a door. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
So I think that it would be stupid for you to go and get the dog. So you have to tell me, Mr. Green, what you want.
She's man's best friend, and that dog means a lot to me.
I'll give you an order to go get her. Do you want me to give you an order so you can get the dog back?
I want the dog back.
I'm going to give you an order. You want to go and get it? Go and get it with a marshal. The dog belongs to you. Now, the next part of your case has to do with an assault, and that's the assault where she threw a dog dish at you, and she went to hit you, you filed a police report.
Yes, I did.
And I'd like to see a copy of that.
So that's a difficult deal.
Okay, so that you don't have a copy of the police report.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is for false arrest, so I want you to tell me what happened on the day that you were at the house retrieving Molly.
I was moving out of his house, and I said, I'm going to leave Molly here for a few days until I get settled in the house. And he goes, we got to talk about that. And I'm like, well, there's nothing to talk about.
I just want you to tell me.
He chased me out of the house, and I said, well, I'm just going to take her now if you're not going to give her in a couple days. I had all my stuff was still inside. He freaked out, threw a fit. I can never go back there because of what he did. And so
I want you to tell me what you did.
I didn't do anything except try to grab a Molly. And I had groceries in my hand, had a bunch of food from the refrigerator. He tried grabbing the leash from Molly, and there's a little bit of scuffle because of the fact that he's trying to get Molly. And I grabbed the groceries, fell. Maybe that's where the syrup must have come in. I don't know. I didn't see syrup because I was on my way out the door, my tunnel to the door. Got in the car, and as I'm going in the car, he come up to the hood and he did that to me, and I backed up and left. And that was a simple thing. Then I later on, like 9 days later, cops come to my house and they tell me I have to go to court for a domestic violence.
Okay.
So I went to court and they dismissed it because it was ridiculous.
Just a second. Did you have a trial?
No, I've not heard from the police since.
Did you ever go to court?
No.
Did you go to court?
Yes, I did.
Yes. And you got a dismissal. He wasn't there.
It's prosecutorial discretion.
You got... Okay, very good.
Well,
Your counterclaim is dismissed.
He wasn't there because
this case
there's no
is
court.
resolved in the following way. I am preparing an order that allows you to go and get Molly. Execute it within 5 days.
My son's dog. I've had since she was a puppy.
5 days.
Really?
Do you understand?
My family's dog. She's 14. We've had her for 14 freaking years. She's almost dead. You're going to give my dog away to him?
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And I proceeded to go into the parking spot.
One driver doesn't believe another.
This man comes running out, pestering at me, screaming at me, saying I hit his car. I go, sir, I did not hit your car.
The plaintiff has a video.
Will she only see what she wants?
There's her car. You can see the impact to my car.
So you hit his car.
No, I did not hit his car.
Okay, let's watch it again. I want you to walk right up there.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Matthew Angelieri is suing motorist Stacy Griffall for backing into his car.
Order. All rise. It's case number 501 on the calendar in the matter of Angelieri versus Griffall.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Party's been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Angelieri, it is your claim that the defendant hit your parked car.
That's correct.
Defendant says, I didn't hit the car, I stopped short of hitting the car, and she has a counterclaim. Her counterclaim is that you said to her when you went out to see the damage to your car, you held her until the police arrived because she was about to leave. And she said, I'm not sticking around, and you, in effect, falsely imprisoned her until the police arrived. Let's start with you, Miss Griffall. You were driving on what date?
I don't know what date it is, ma'am.
You don't know what date it is? Well,
ma'am, the date was...
No, I didn't ask you anything.
Yes.
I don't know.
I asked her.
I don't know what the date was.
Okay. The date was January 19th.
Okay.
It was 7 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Was it dark or light on January 19th?
It was dark.
Where were you going?
I was going to the surplus store.
Speak up, I can't
I was
hear.
going to the surplus store.
And is that next to a pizzeria?
Yes, it is.
What kind of car were you driving?
I was driving a Chevy Tracker. It's a little Jeep, like.
How old?
2002.
Who owns the car?
I do.
Is it insured?
Yes, it is.
Was it insured in January of 2018?
It was, but, well, my insurance had overlapsed. But
Just a second. Did you have insurance?
No, I did not.
That's the answer. No, I did not. Not it was in the mail, and they didn't open up the mail, and somebody forgot the mail. The answer is...
No, I did not.
You didn't have insurance.
No, I did not.
So you're on the way to the surplus store, and I have to tell you something. You see when that monitor is up there, I always know that somebody has something for me to watch, because that monitor is not there all the time. And since you have nothing on your end of the table, the plaintiff on his side of the table has a video. And he looks like a reasonably intelligent man, and he looks as if he's not going to play me a circus video, that it's somehow relevant to this case, which means that there are security cameras outside, which means that something captured what happened with his car. Do you get it?
Yes, I get it.
So now you're starting out with 2 strikes against you. First, you didn't have insurance, and then when I asked you a question, my insurance overlapped. That's a second excuse. So I want you to tell me what happened at 7 o'clock in the evening when you were going to the surplus store.
I was looking for parking. I noticed the car was leaving his parking space, so I stopped, proceeded to let him leave the parking spot. I had to back up to get into the parking, the driveway entrance of the parking spot.
Just very slowly.
Okay.
You pull up, somebody.
Right.
You pull up, somebody's getting out of a parking space.
Correct.
You backed up so that they could exit the parking space. Correct. And then you had to parallel park.
Correct.
Is that what you're telling me? Don't shake your head. Stand there like a statue. Do you understand?
I understand.
Perfect. So now you have to parallel park in order to get into that spot, right?
That's not correct.
So you let the person out of the parking spot.
Correct.
You had to move back to let them out because you wouldn't go in front. That means they'd have to go around you, right? So a normal driver would say, there's a spot. Getting out, I'll pull back.
Right. I pulled back, and I noticed his car was behind me. I put on the brakes, and my car jerked.
His car was behind you?
In the street. He was in the street. And I was pulling into the parking lot. So he was in the street, and I was going into the establishment, which is on the right of me. And so I backed up. I noticed his car was behind me. I slammed on my brakes. My car jerked, and I proceeded to go into the parking spot. And all of a sudden, I'm getting out of the car to go into the establishment, and this man comes running out, pestering at me, screaming at me, saying I hit his car. I said, sir, there's no way I could have hit your car. I know I did not hit your car, sir, I did not. And so he walked away to his car, and he proceeded to look at the front of his car, and he sees this little dent in there, and goes, this looks like it's a new little dent. I go, sir, I did not hit your car. And so he walks to the side of the car, and he goes, oh my God. He started acting out that I had made this big dent in his car. I said, there's no way I could have hit your car and made that dent without me knowing it. I did not hit your car, sir. I don't know what you're talking about. So I was going to argue with him, so I proceeded to go in the establishment, and he grabbed my arm, and he held me there, and stayed behind my car so I couldn't leave. And he held me there until the officers came. When the officers came, he released me, and then I proceeded to tell them my story, side of the story.
Did you give them your insurance?
No, because I did not have it on me.
Did you get a ticket for not having insurance?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Did you pay it?
Yes, I did. I went to the court. No, I didn't. I didn't have. Okay.
Because?
I went to court, showed the judge I had my license now and my insurance. He gave me a fine.
Because just a second. He gave you a fine because he didn't like you?
No, for the court fees. For the court fees. He gave me a fine for the court fees.
You do understand that when you lie, your mouth gets dry.
I'm not lying.
You do understand that. When you lie, your mouth gets dry. Can I see the video, please?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Your Honor, when the video plays, if you'll pay attention to the top center part of the screen, you could just see my car in the edge of the frame. There's her car. You can see the impact to my car. Headlights and the license plate moves as she pulls in. She was actually reversing up an active lane in the street. She's reversing against traffic. She probably didn't see us because her car was full of trash.
Just a second.
There she is, grabbing my arm as I'm telling her I'm going to call the cops. Take a picture of her face. She's flipping out because I think she's going to bounce. And she's waddling back to her car.
Listen to me. I don't need your assistance in looking at a video.
I'm just trying to keep my distance at this point, Your Honor.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's play it again. Watch it carefully, Miss Grifal. See his car move? Did you see his car move?
Yes,
you want to watch it again? Okay.
Yes.
So you hit his car.
Apparently from this video.
So you hit his car.
No, I did not hit his car.
Okay, let's watch it again. Let's watch it again. Okay. I want you to walk right up there.
Right.
Walk right up. So you. I can see it from here. I'm a little younger than you are. Well, I could see that you hit his car unless some angel went and moved his car.
Okay.
See his car move?
I see that. Yes, I do.
Good. Very good. Now you can go back. Can I see an estimate for the damage to the car, please?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Photographs first.
Here, sir. Photographs.
But the way that the damage was done, there's no way I could have done that damage because I backed up straight back.
No,
his damage is done on the side of the car.
Listen to me carefully. I saw where you hit him. You hit him on the bumper.
Correct. That's all I did was hit him on the. He's in the dent is on the left side of the car.
Just a second. Did you hear what I said?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not stupid.
No, I know.
You hit him on his bumper.
Correct.
Ma'am, she actually hit me on the on the driver's side fender. The impact from her right rear bumper left 2 marks in the side of the car that are exactly the same color and the same positioning on her car. I have better photos on my phone if they're hard to see.
I'd like to see them.
Surely. Yes, sir.
Would you play that for me again, please?
You can actually still see both my headlights.
Okay, so what you're telling me is you could see both your headlights at the time of the impact,
Correct.
which means she hit you
She hit
on
me
the
on the
side. I'll look with that in mind.
Absolutely, ma'am.
I see what you mean. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
It's pretty obvious, Your Honor. She hit
I got
the car.
it. Okay. What kind of car is this?
It's a Mazda Miata. It's
Little
my
one.
girlfriend's first car. I bought it for her. We moved from the East Coast. She's from the Five
TMI.
Boroughs. Yep.
What? What's the matter?
TMI.
It's going to cost him $4,200 to fix his car. That you're going to pay for. No insurance?
I had insurance, yes.
Did you use your insurance?
My insurance was liability only, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Now we're going to deal with.
Go ahead.
Now
I'm
we're
sorry.
Now we're going to deal with your counterclaim.
Yes.
I read your answer, and in your answer you said, I did not hit his car and therefore was leaving to go into the store to do my shopping. Well, you did hit his car, and therefore, by leaving the scene of an accident, depending upon the cost of the repair, it could either be a misdemeanor or a felony, right?
Correct.
And I believe that the victim of that, either misdemeanor or felony, has a right to hold you until the police arrive. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Great.
Not physically, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, I
Oh,
never
just a
touched this
second.
woman.
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
just a second. Yes, they do. Let us assume, who is this person?
This is my boyfriend.
This is your boyfriend. Let's put your hand down. I didn't ask you anything.
Sorry.
Let's assume you're walking with your boyfriend, and some kid comes up from behind and grabs the necklace that you're wearing and starts to run. And your boyfriend grabs the kid by the neck, and while he's holding the kid, you call 911 and say, I was just robbed. My boyfriend is holding the person who just robbed me. You think he has a right to do that?
Yes.
Yes, of course. Because he witnessed a crime being committed.
Correct.
Right? And the perpetrator of that crime was fleeing.
Right.
You were fleeing the scene of an accident that you caused. The victim of that crime, the owner of the car, has a right to hold you until the police arrive so that you don't disappear. Got it?
Got it.
Your counterclaim system is judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,200. Would you remove him, please? Thank you.
Sure. Everybody can go.
There's no way I could have done the damage on the side of the car.
Judge Judy really hit the nail on the head. The woman is a degenerate.
Nothing to do with me not having insurance.
Had no license, no insurance, lied to me, lied to the cops.
Because I wasn't going to argue with the man because I didn't hit him on the side of the car.
My Bubby always told me, you gotta watch out for people like this. So I did.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gack versus Heron. Step forward.
Ashley Gack is suing her former friend, Cheyenne Heron, for money loaned, a phone bill, and for the value of the phone.
Ms. Gack, you and the defendant had been friends for a long time. It is your claim that she owes you some money for a small loan. She owes you money for a telephone and for early termination fee or something on the phone. I hate telephone cases.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you remember what she said to you after she paid the bill?
She said that she had paid the insurance bill.
And?
I said I appreciate it, and I thanked her.
It's not what you said in your answer.
What do you mean?
What do I mean? I'm going to tell you what I mean.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Gack says she helped former friend Cheyenne Heron when she was down on her luck. She claims Cheyenne has yet to pay her back.
Okay, first tell me when and why the loan.
She fell under financial hardship.
When?
Back in December, and she couldn't pay her...
December of last year?
Yes.
Tell me the circumstances of her asking you for money.
She couldn't pay her car insurance plan, or not the plan, but the last payment because of a car accident that had happened.
Did she communicate it to you by phone or in person?
No, we were driving in my car.
What did she say to you, and what did you say to her?
She just said that she couldn't afford to pay the last payment. She didn't know how she was gonna, pay all her bills. So I said that I had extra that I could spare as long as she paid me back.
How much did you give her?
$160.
Did she give you $160, Miss Heron?
No, she did not.
What did she give you?
Nothing. She went and paid the car insurance on her own.
Okay. So you gave her the information as to how to pay it?
She knew where...
Don't tell me what she knew.
No.
I have a best friend. I wouldn't know where her insurance carrier is. I wouldn't know where to go to pay an insurance bill for her. I wouldn't know where her doctor is. I wouldn't know what her bank is. And she and I have been best friends for 65 years. So don't tell me what she knew.
Well, when I was in California for the car accident she mentioned, I had called her then in March and asked her to pay it and told her where it was.
So in March of last year.
But she did not do it then.
So in
that's
March,
how she knew where I had car insurance from.
So in March of last year, you told her where to pay your insurance. Now she says that you're driving in the car and you told her you didn't have money to pay for this last insurance premium. You acknowledge that in your answer. You acknowledge that you paid it in your answer.
But I did not ask her.
Do you remember what she said to you after she paid the bill?
She said that she had paid the insurance bill.
And what did you say to her?
I said I appreciate it, and I thanked her.
It's not what you said in your answer.
What do you mean?
What do I mean? I'm going to tell you what I mean.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you were the fact finder, what would you assume that you, as the writer of that, believed you owed her? I'm asking you a question. Don't stand there and look gorgeous. Just answer my question.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Gack says she helped former friend Cheyenne Heron when she was down on her luck. She claims Cheyenne has yet to pay her back.
Okay, I was playing catch-up for many months, and in December I was upset because I needed to pay the insurance company and didn't have the money. Ashley said she would pay the bill for me as my Christmas present.
That was discussed later.
Well, tell me about that discussion.
She
told you, let me hear what I'm telling you what you told me a moment ago, so I'm just going to make the thread straight.
Okay.
You said you didn't have the money to pay your insurance bill. She took it upon herself to go and pay it because she had the information from the previous March when you had discussed her paying an insurance premium for you. And I asked you what you said to her when she told you that she had paid it, and you said, I said thank you.
Correct.
Now tell me about Christmas present.
I had texted her and told her I got her Christmas gift, and then she texted me back saying that she felt bad because she didn't know what to get me, and I told her that she didn't have to get me anything because she had done that.
I would really like to see the texts.
I can't because I no longer have that phone, and it's her plan. Your can't. Honor, I have evidence of it.
Can I see it, please?
Yes.
Could you show this to the defendant, please?
Okay.
Well, that certainly suggests to me that you owe her money.
This was before Christmas.
Read the last line.
Yeah, for the monthly phone bill?
No, I'm talking about the 160 plus the 160. Doesn't it say towards the bottom part of that text plus the 160?
Yes.
Great. Now, holding on and looking at that, if you were me, and I'm the fact finder in this case, how much do you think I would think you owe her based upon that?
Well, based upon this.
Based upon that. Before you react, look at it and tell me, if you were the fact finder, what would you assume that you, as the writer of that, believed you owed her? Phone plan. I'm asking you a question. Don't stand there and look gorgeous. Just answer my question. Tell me, it says you owe her.
Yes, based
money.
on this.
How much money, other than the 160, does it look like you acknowledge that you owe her? You say to her, please figure out everything that I owe you. And you list a few things, right?
Yes.
Yes. What do you list that you owe her? You.
The phone bill when I...
Phone bill. Okay, and how many months of a phone bill does it look to you from that you owe her?
Well, according to this, I paid her part of it when I got back from California. And then I was asking her how much I still owed her.
How much did you think, based upon that you owed her for the phone and the phone plan?
It says for the phone bill, I thought I still owed her $100.
Great. What else?
And then the 160.
160. And what about the phone?
The phone was never...
Phone was never an issue?
No.
Okay, great. So far you owe $260, according to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
She's supposed to pay you $100 a month for the phone?
Yes.
That was your agreement because that's what it says in there. You acknowledge
But the
that in there.
agreement changed.
You acknowledge. You pick something up in writing and show me where the agreement changed. Of course not.
Because only she can.
Of course not. Okay. How many months delinquent was she with the phone?
About 7 months.
Not about.
Since August.
Well, then what you have to do is take the phone away before December. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because that sounds like forgiveness.
Yes.
Okay, great. $260. What else?
It was the phone bill since August, which is what I wanted.
$260.
Yes.
We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I still don't feel like I owe her anything. It's very unfortunate. I never expected it. She didn't know what to get me for Christmas, and I told her don't worry about it because of everything she's helped me with. As my best friend. As being my best friend since kindergarten. It hurts.
I was trying to be an adult here.
No, you weren't.
I wanted to solve everything.
Well, no way.
It's a war of words
The defendant comes and says to me, "Oh, why are you staring at me?"
between battling neighbors.
She looks at me and she said, "What are you looking at?" And I said, "Nothing."
But whose words are whose?
She called me a drug addict, and she called my whole family and me losers.
That's what you said about my family.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy. Maria, Kansas, is suing her neighbor, 23-year-old Alicia Franchi, for damaging her front door during an argument in front of their homes.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 89 on count in the matter of Kansas versus Franchi.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
This is about two neighbors that don't get along, but according to your complaint, the defendant took that not getting along to an extreme. When did that happen?
That happened April 19th of 2012.
What time?
At 12 o'clock in the afternoon, ma'am.
Tell me about it.
Okay, Your Honor. I had just come home from grocery shopping. I pulled in front of my house because I could not park in my driveway. And I parked in front of my house, in front of the mailbox, actually. And I was looking for the mailman because where I live, if you're blocking the driveway, it's a non-walking zone. You don't get your mail. And I was coming out of my car, watching for my mailman the whole time. And the defendant, at the same time, comes and says to me, "Oh, why are you staring at me? Why are you staring at me?"
Where is her house?
Right across the street, ma'am.
Is it a two-lane road?
No. Yes.
Don't shout out. Two-lane road?
Yes.
Okay, let's start at that point. Ms. Franchi, April 19th, what day of the week was that?
It was a Thursday.
What were you doing home at 12 noon?
I was at home with my daughter.
Who else lives there?
My mother, my father, who recently passed away, and my 15-year-old brother.
Okay, so you're home, it's 12 o'clock. And?
I go outside to actually bring in the garbage cans, not to check the mail. This was
She didn't say you came out to check the mail. That's not what she said at all.
Okay.
So you went out to bring in the garbage cans?
To bring in the garbage cans.
And?
I bring in two, because we have four. I bring in two at a time, brought up to two. I noticed her looking at me. I looked over. She looks at me, and she says, "What are you looking at?" And I said, "Nothing."
Okay, keep going.
And she says to me, "Why are you looking at me?" And she keeps saying preferred language to me, like screaming at me for no reason.
No. I want you to tell me what she said.
She called me a drug addict, and she called my whole family and me losers.
That's what you said about my family.
Now listen to me, Miss Franchi. I don't want you to say anything until I look at your direction and ask you a question. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, I want you to tell me what she said to you and what you said to her. The exact words, if you remember them.
Yes. I called her a loser also, and I called her that she has many fathers for her child. I said many words to her, because she got me very angry, Your Honor, because I was just waiting for my mail, and she approached me for no reason, started yelling at me and screaming at me for no reason.
Well, I didn't hear what she said to you. So far, I heard you calling her names.
She was staring at me. She was saying, "Why are you looking at me? Why are you staring at me?"
Okay, so she looked at you.
You guys all I'm sorry, Your Honor.
She looked at you. Why are you looking at me? Why are you staring at me? And
then she says,
Careful, I want you to tell me what she said to you.
I'm sick and tired of you and your family. You've been there for all of this time. You should go back where you came from. And she kept on going with words, Your Honor.
No, words I want to hear. That's what this case is about. This is about harassment.
I don't want to tell you the words.
Well, you have to say the words.
Okay, she was saying, "Why don't you go back where you came from, and you don't belong here. It, you know, kept on going on and on and on and on, and kept on saying, calling us, me and my family, a loser and drug addicts and everything else.
Okay,
and I had enough.
What did you say? And what
6
did you
years
say
now.
to her?
I said to her, why don't you just leave me alone, and I'm not even looking at you. But
just a second. But there came a time when you did, in fact, curse at her.
Yes, I did.
Well, that's what I want to hear.
Yes, I did. I told her, why don't you mind your business.
So you were yelling at each other?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Okay, and then what happened?
I defended myself because it's been going on for 6 years. It's an ongoing story, Your Honor. It's been going on for 6 years, since the day when I moved in the house.
I want you to tell me what happened after you were yelling at each other.
Ma'am, I'm 40 years old, and she's 23. I was trying to be an adult here.
No, you weren't. Ms. Kansas, you are not trying to be an adult. I just want you to now tell me what happened. Now you're yelling at each other in two very unladylike ways.
I understand. You're right.
Not an adult and a 20-year-old. You were both behaving badly.
I understand, Your Honor.
Then I just want you to tell me, after you were yelling at each other, something happened which is the basis for this lawsuit.
The thing is, after I received my mail, I was approaching to bring my groceries in my house. She kept on saying bad words, kept on going on and on and on. She didn't stop. She kept on going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, from her house to my house.
If you say anything again, I'm going to put you out. Now do you understand?
Yes.
Go ahead.
You know,
she
kept on going
back and forth
to
the
my
street
house.
So far.
I have videos to prove it, ma'am.
I'll look at them in a minute. I want you to tell me what happened.
She just kept on going back and forth to my house, kept on saying words, and I said to her, I even raised my hand up. I said, Alicia, enough is enough. I'm not saying anymore. Leave me alone. That's it. I'm not going to argue with you. Just leave me alone.
Go ahead.
I put my groceries on the floor. Then I approached to open the door, to open the door to get in my house. Then all of a sudden, I guess she gone crazy, and she comes racing at me, trying to hit me for no reason. I don't know what happened that day.
Just tell me what happened. Not what you don't know. Just tell me what happened.
Yes.
You put your groceries down, you were trying to get into the door, and she came across
I put the key in my door, I unlocked the door, and then she comes racing from her house to my house, and then I slam the door in her face. Then she starts banging on my screen door, broke my screen door, and just kept on just banging on my door like a crazy woman.
That's the basis for the lawsuit, that she damaged your property.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a bill for that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see
I also have my screen.
I'd like to see
And I also have video.
First, I want to take a look at the bills. Thank you. Okay. Now, you had a little bit of a hissy fit, Miss Franchi?
Yes.
And what did you do when you had the hissy fit?
Well, I had the hissy fit for the no reason that she says is because she called me and my 4-year-old daughter both.
Okay. You were calling each other bad names.
I kept walking away from her. She kept going. And when she realized that it was not fazing me and I was about to walk into my home, she said, F you, you and your daughter are both. That's when I ran over to her.
You can't do that.
She ran away.
You can't do that.
Okay.
Her daughter was nowhere to be found.
My daughter was in the house. My daughter was at home with
Your
me.
daughter was not there. She was with the father.
I'm going to
Her father doesn't pick her up till 3 o'clock on
Listen to
Thursday.
She's
Your
got a
husband
temper.
wasn't even there.
If you open your mouth again, I'm going to put you out. But if I put you out, then I'm going to give her everything she wants.
Okay.
Do you understand? Do you want her to get everything
No.
she wants? No. Well, but that's going to happen. I don't care what she calls you or what she calls your daughter. You can't have a hissy fit and proceed to try to attack her.
I wasn't going there.
Well,
to
that's you caused
physically
damage.
attack her.
Listen to me.
I didn't damage her door either.
Yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did.
I hit the vinyl siding on her house.
Oh,
not
you
her door.
can't hit anything, Miss Franchi. I don't care what
I
she
was
calls you.
on it for her to come out.
Listen to me. Why?
Because she ran away
just a
from
second.
me.
Why?
I wanted to solve everything.
Well, no way. You don't solve everything when you're having a hissy fit. That's not when you solve things. You solve things if you're calm. Go home. Take a deep breath. Pick up the phone, call her and say, this has been going on too long. I don't want to fight with you. We're neighbors.
We never had a problem before. Me and her personally have never had a problem.
Who did you have a problem with?
I never had a problem with anybody on my street.
Well,
she
then-
had issues with my father, my brother, and my mother. Me personally, we've never had a problem.
So she's had issues with your family.
And neighbors on the whole street.
Fine, now I'm going to look at the video.
As you can see, Your Honor, I'm approaching up. I'm going up the stairs. I have groceries in my hand, my coffee in the other hand. I'm going up the stairs. She's on the... sorry.
As her looking, that's when she's saying to me, and your daughter.
So what? You said the same thing to her. Are you on a cell phone?
Yes, I was trying to call the cops over my cell phone to make her stop. But then I hung up, Your Honor, because I was trying to give her a chance.
That it? That's a hissy fit, Miss Franchi. Can't do that to somebody else's property. It's actually a shame that two people who live next door to each other in what looks like a pleasant neighborhood.
It was.
It was what?
It was a pleasant neighborhood.
Listen, I have a sense that you have a bit of an edge to you.
When it comes to this, yes.
I have a sense that you have an edge to you.
I've never been in trouble. I've never been arrested before.
Listen to me. That's a hissy fit. You can't do that.
Well, when it comes to my daughter, I will defend her.
Nobody was harming your daughter.
Verbally, she was.
Nobody,
my daughter was there.
Who cares? You can't do that.
I feel what I did was right.
Well, I'm going to show you what is right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
How long had she been in the hospital?
2-3 weeks.
And what possessed you to ask her for money when your girlfriend was in the hospital for 2 or 3 weeks for a car?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Maria, Kansas says neighbor Alicia Franchi damaged her front door during an argument in front of their homes. Alicia is countersuing for slander and harassment.
Now, I'm dismissing your counterclaim.
Okay.
That's the first thing, because what you did was wrong.
Okay.
I'm not saying what you did was right.
Right. I agree.
I'm not
Me
saying...
running over there was wrong.
That's right. That's what her case is about. Her case is about you taking words and escalating them into action. That you can't do. Sticks and stones. I'm sure your mother and your father maybe taught you that. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. So you have no right to escalate the war of words into physical violence, which is what you did. Now, I don't think that you behaved properly for a 40-year-old woman.
I understand, Your Honor. You're right.
I think that if you have a 23-year-old with a hot temper, you don't engage her if she's behaving improperly.
But it's been going on for 6 years, Your Honor. I've had enough.
I've
had enough.
I
just want to live in my house, and that's it.
What's going to happen? She's not moving. If you've had 6 years of it and you're living there and you've had enough, sell your house and move someplace else.
Two prior owners left because of this.
But to live someplace where you're unhappy and
I'm not
where
unhappy. I'm very happy with my home. I'm sorry.
Very good. If you're very happy with your home, then you should have kept your mouth shut.
I was just defending me and my family, Your Honor, because it was...
Oh, well, then I want to tell you something. You're equally responsible. And what you're suing her for is the cost of fixing the screen in the door, which was $54, but you also want thousands of dollars for her harassment. That you're not going to get because you're as guilty as she is. You both behaved badly on April 19th with your war of the words. She's going to pay $54.19 to fix your door. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I do believe that what I did, though, was the right thing.
They just don't know how to stop.
I think any parent would defend their child.
Just stop. Just try to get along. Just stop.
And I feel right in what I did.
But they just keep on going.
I hope they move.
Destroying my house, destroying my cars, destroying everything.